I'm trying to say in the final analysis, once we take control of ourselves, we have to stop being imitators and be innovators. We realize we've got a continent 12 million square miles. Wherever our bodies are on the face of this earth, our cultural and political heartbeat is in Africa. Whether you ever go to Africa or not, that is your home, that is the home of your spirit, and that is the heart and meaning and definition of your commitment. And none of us, any place in the world, will be free until that continent is free.
The Mossi warrior clan was created because myself and others like Brother Nahisi saw a need for a young African group to analyze information concerning the African phenomenon with no bias, with rigor, and with scholarship. We created the Mossi warrior clan for the purpose of being an expert research team, of being a team that produced products, a team that was capable of producing products for African people globally to dispel myths, rumors, and provide them with accurate scholarship.
streets, Sutek tried to line it up. And he was like, I don't debate y'all. Y'all too disrespectful. Aboriginal Power won't even debate Sean because he too disrespectful.
He is though. No, he really is though. I can't really like you, bro. You cool. Not a coincidence. I actually chop it up with But niggas that come off too heated and disrespectful, like I said, I'll debate you, bro. But we gotta get in the ring first. If you want to be disrespectful like that, at least disrespect me in the ring, bro. Let's start now, bro. Can you disrespect me in a cage, bro? Like, I'd rather just do that. Then we go straight from the cage. I mean, put your ice on the way to the motherfucking computer, and we'll debate directly after that, nigga. Shit.
That's why I don't even do fucking with the nigga and shit. You feel me? Like, it's like, wait, bro, talk like that. We gotta get face to face. We can talk to you like that, my nigga.
Yeah, Peanut. You feel me? Go ahead, I got my brother over. Peanut, what's the word, my brother?
Yeah, I appreciate you, man, but Lucky, let me say this, man. First of all, I'm an older brother. I'm young in spirit because I stay in shape. And I'm older. I deserve respect. Don't lie on me. You're not going to get nowhere lying because that's what's going to make you fall face first. Second of all, I'm well known in the Pan-African community. I'm not nobody new. You're younger than me. You don't know this. I didn't put in work and expose Rob Bourne, Sutek, any of them people over there. They know it deep down inside. And I'm gonna be long-winded. I'm a Moorish American. I already had back and forth with them dude. They erased videos. I'm not running from anybody. Don't ever say that stupid shit again. Third, and last but not least, I'm not losing no debate to no Pan-African. So don't ever say that shit again, famo. And that's it. Appreciate y'all, man.
You heard it. If Sean P want to debate, don't debate the champ over here, right?
Sutek wanted so this like it's a pecking order. It's a pecking. So Sean want you and Sutek want him. You say PMF ain't
It's no problem. It's no problem, man. Let's set up the Sutek debate, man. I don't like him anyway.
Okay, so I love that son, brother. I love that warrior mentality.
That's how it's going. I love you. Tell Sutek. Tell me. There ain't nothing. My champ always in the chat. Have him pop in. We'll set a topic. We'll set a date. Make it pay-per-view. We'll chop it up behind the scenes. I get their contact. We make it work. So, right here. He ain't ducking no phase, bro.
But that's what I'm saying. He do this over here on y'all channel, and then when we get in other
hey, alright, I will block your ass, nigga, because I'm well known for disrupting them chats over there. Nigga, stop fucking lying, nigga. You a goofy, nigga. I would never let a lame ass nigga lie on me in my face, clown.
You gonna block me? It
ain't no time I ain't ever been on the Pan-African channel and made my impact. Stop lying. I'm a real man, bro. Stop lying, fam. Don't do PNF like that.
PNF, he trying to trigger you, brother.
What the fuck up?
But listen, he did that to me, talking about, word on the street, I'm ducking from John P. I've never even had but one conversation with this little disrespectful motherfucker.
Oh, okay, yeah, he a little hot. He like that.
So he like...
How the fuck y'all find an African in my fucking family, but y'all ain't find y'all
own genealogy?
Shut the fuck up. That don't make sense, for one. Listen, y'all don't know what y'all did.
I don't feel like you standing on business.
Y'all lied on me, because y'all don't even know if that's me. And if y'all can trace that shit back to it's me, it's only 2 people in YouTube that got my information. Yeah, he died by his own genealogy. You ain't an Indian, you ain't got a lot of me. Half of this track, best believe you lose a lot of sleep. Probably because you made it up to us honestly. You ain't a Cherokee, you ain't a Chickasaw, you ain't a Blackfoot, nigga get lost. You just a fool with low comprehension. So I gotta come through with the henchmen. NAC, Sean P, Shy Son, Lucky. Don't forget Jay, got no time to play. Caught an apple slipping with his genealogy. Now he's a con and I ain't talking about a singer. I'm coming for the top apple leader. He ain't a teacher, he's a preacher. He can't keep up, so we leave him. Yeah, he died by his own genealogy. You ain't an Indian, you ain't got a lot of me. Half of the track, best believe you lose a lot of sleep. Probably because you made it up to us possibly. You ain't a Cherokee, you ain't a Chickasaw, you ain't a Blackfoot, nigga get lost. You just a fool with low comprehension. So I gotta come through with the henchmen. NAC, Sean P, Shy Son, Lucky. Don't forget Jay, got no time to play. Caught an apple slipping off his genealogy. Now he's a con. OTK, TKO. Now he's a con. OTK, you died. TKO genealogy.
From Africa, but they will be able to tell you about Africa. They wouldn't be vaguely saying they from Africa, brother. Like when a European says I'm from Europe, he doesn't say I'm from Europe. He says I'm from Germany. I'm from a particular province. I still got people out there, right? You know, when people say hold on. When people say they from Asia, they tell you where about from Asia they from. They tell you their province. They tell you they still got people out there. These people will confirm that they are indeed a part of their heritage. But you niggas was calling y'all African? Oh, mysteriously, you have no contact with the people you say you descend from. So I don't believe you. Bro.
Hating Africa and hating the African, we ended up even hating ourselves without even realizing it. Because you can't hate the roots of a tree and not hate the tree. The roots of a tree and not hate the tree.
You ain't no Indian, please try again. Everybody know you's an African. And Malcolm X said, you can't hate the root without hating the tree. Now take a look at you, you's a wannabe Cherokee. And I told you before, you need some therapy. And why you never show the genealogy? You owe your ancestors an apology. And you know they turning over inside of their graves just because you don't wanna come from a slave. So you gotta take this whip in. I caught another apple slipping. Caught another apple slipping. Caught another apple slipping. Caught another apple. Caught another apple. Caught another apple slipping. Caught another apple slipping. Caught another apple slipping. Caught another apple. Caught another. Let's go. Caught another apple slipping. Caught another apple slipping. Caught another apple slipping. Caught another apple. Caught another apple. Caught another apple slipping. Yo, check this out, man. You wasn't already here, man. Dane Calloway lied to you, man. The research guy lied to you, man. Caremio lied to you, man. Your ancestors come from Africa, whether you like it or not. So no matter what you do, no matter what you say, you will always be an African. You can't deny the facts. You can't deny the evidence. You can't deny the genealogy. You can't deny the DNA. You can't deny it, man. Whether you like it or not, you are African. Call the abo slipping. That's all we do. That's all we do. Let's go.
Got some dewy-eyed thing that you got a friend. I still ask you to look at that mirror. And if nothing's staring back at you is friendly, then you've got no friend.
Good morning, man. It's your boy Sean P. in the place to be. I got a nice show for us today, but before we get it going, please like the show, share the show. I'm going to deal with a couple of things, but I was taken back by something that I just left alone, and I want to just kind of recap or revisit a teaching moment with everybody this morning, as it pertains to something that was brought up on Not a Coincidence channel last night. And but before we do that, let me catch a lot of people who might not have been privy to Not a Coincidence's channel. So it could be your first time kind of running into Not a Coincidence, which you shouldn't. You should be very familiar with his channel. But I was on the panel with the brother up until I know I was going to enter a dead spot, and I got a phone call and I dropped off. So around this moment right here, Vino decides to get on the panel. And I want y'all to hear the very first thing that he says.
That bit up.
Oh, you trying to? Man, Narc talking about he got a whole nother show, but now the show delayed.
We're gonna get right to it.
Yo, y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a phone call. So,
I just
do
want to
you
see
got your
them
PC, Lucky?
prove something. Yeah, he said
I
he got
want
to
to see
get
the
an
same
HDMI
shit.
cord.
Oh, all right.
Why they keep finding that
Yo,
Agent
Lucky, you
Casino and
supposed to be
Cameroon?
sending me them bets, man. You ain't on your job. I need the bets, man.
Right. We trying to hit for 2,500 too.
Yeah, hold on. You
Well, you
can.
striking. I need to make some money this weekend, nigga. What up? I'm ready.
Look, listen, man. I got something in right now. I just lost an overseas ticket just like 2 minutes ago. Had me a little 18 leg parlay and goddamn some random France team fucked me up. But I got some I'm looking at college basketball tonight. I'm about to do me a little 9-leg parlay. You know, it all depends
Yeah,
on the
just,
odds though.
screenshot that bitch, send it to me.
Now I got you. I'll send the what app you use?
I'm on this shit, Fanatics book, sports book.
Oh, the Fanatic Sports book. So it's you can make your
I
own
like
spread
that
and
shit
stuff.
though. Yeah. I like that shit. You can do all that shit, and they
Okay.
give you good boosts. Like, word.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna put together a 9-leg. I'm gonna text it to you. I'm
Yeah,
looking
do
at it
that.
right now.
Let me find out. Vito ran Sean P on what happened.
Hey, you know what time it is? That 3-0 started creeping in. You know, he's gonna have to revisit that. But
3-0. This nigga keep pushing that 3-0 narrative. Yo, this nigga's
No, he the only one that believes it, man. I told you they be delusional.
come on, man. I really don't see. I mean, I really don't see where the nigga got off at. To tell you the truth, you know what I'm saying? If anything, nigga probably got the third round. But that first round,
Nah, bro.
if anything, you know what I'm saying? He didn't connect the Gullah and he didn't connect the Gullah and the Black Seminoles. He just put it out there. He just said it. I guess just put it on a
I'm gonna have to replay that shit one day,
little
man.
slideshow and shit. And then the second round, when I brought Aunt Bessie Payne, that shut down all the little thing because she basically put the stamp on it and said that basically the same thing that she repping the Seminole after somebody tried to put the African.
Let me pause real quick. So notice, y'all haven't heard me say anything about a debate with Vino. Because it wasn't a debate. It was a teaching moment. I did it, and then I moved on from it. Just like Yodi. I did it, and then I moved on from it. This dude has continuously brought up this conversation and claims that he won something. He has gone from one panel to another panel to another panel under the assumption that he won something. So, if that's what's going to make him feel better in the morning, I'll let him. I'm not going back and forth with him. He can't even comprehend. He can barely speak.
And label on her. So I really don't see where he really saying, yeah, he really got points other than saying, oh yeah, they was just runaways, just because some people said it.
I mean, you got the actual slave masters looking for them, like
Nah,
so.
you got coming across black people and automatically saying they runaways. Matter of fact, the government turned the army into slave catchers, and they just had like a free for fall, like a shit. Just come down here and buy
What state?
all.
All right, so before he get into his entire history that he's going to muddy up, I wanted to show that real quick. Just that portion or that clip. I might come back to it a little later. But we heard what he said. Not a coincidence, trolling. Said what he said. So I'm going to replay a portion of this, probably the majority of this. And I'm just going to let the information speak. And then once this is over, I'm going to come back and get to the real business. And then we're going to go from there. Make sure y'all hit the like button, share the show.
Okay. It's 5 minutes, then 3 10-minute rounds or something?
There you go. I ain't introducing myself.
Oh my God.
Introduce yourself. Just in case somebody else watches it, they know who you are.
Okay, yes, ma'am. All right, so I'm gonna get his screen on. There you go his screen. Vino, you gotta.
Okay, hold on. Let me just pick it up. Hold on.
Here we go with this. Hold on, before you. Why you getting your stuff together? Fair use. I gotta get to why you getting your stuff together. Fair use. I gotta get to this. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope y'all got y'all popcorn. Ready.
Hey,
Vino, you gonna go on honey cards.
One second, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
There's an echo.
Right, because he got his mic open.
Okay, hold on.
The only way he gonna stop it. No. You cool. Play the video, see if we can hear.
But ain't no video right here. This is just a couple of pictures right here on the introduction. But I got something coming up next. Hold on, let me see.
Okay, I want to test your video first. So can you go to an opposite video so we can hear? I want to test your video first. So can you go to an video?
What's up? Why it sound like that you kind of breaking up or something? Am I good?
You're not breaking off. No, you're not breaking off.
It sound like y'all breaking up, but all right, hold on. Let me get back to this real quick.
Am I breaking up?
What's up? Can y'all hear me? It's all good.
You know.
So we starting off. I appreciate Sean P. Let me come up here and cook. This is definitely supposed to be a feast for everybody to eat. Just to put everybody that be hating on me in the chat up in here, and all my peoples, we're gonna be able to eat on this. Shout out to all my Black Seminoles and Seminoles, especially out here in Weedtown and East OKC and all through America, Oklahoma. Just to give it up. And this is my opinion. This is my get down. And this is I ain't trying to offend anybody or upset anybody about what I'm supposed to say, but this is just what the facts is bringing me, and we're supposed to get to it. So as we see, when Columbus first came over here, he thought he was coming to India, so he called the people Indians, and the word Aborigine and Indians, you know what I'm saying, when their word extended to everybody, you know what I'm saying, that was living over here. So that was back in the 1400s. This is one of the first depictions in the 1500s, 1580 something. I'm gonna bring a whole bunch of other primaries and sources to be able to source up and be able to explain that Black people was found over here in America and that the Black Seminoles are from America. This is also one of the first depictions in the 1730s. We go back in the 1730s of the people that they was finding over here within the tribes. You see that it was Black people already over here in the early 1730s. Again, and it just leads up to, in the 1820, an American, Native Americans, originally applied to the Aborigines of copper-colored races, found her by Europeans, and the big word in there is found by the Europeans. Now they tried to tell me that a Negro Abraham is a mix, that he's mixed blooded, but as we can see in this illustration, and we also got the picture where it shows that he's a full-blooded Negro, but he's from America, and I'm gonna give you the whole bust down of the Black Seminoles foundations in America. And that's the real picture. That's the real picture. This is him right here in the top right. Born and raised just like a lot of other Black people over here in America. Born and raised, they people from over here found in America by the Europeans. Now they try to say that this dude right here, Joseph Apollo,
is the connection. He the one that supposedly connected the black Seminoles to Africa through the Gullah. Now, now, in 1974, which he was 24 years old, he went over to Africa, and he came to the conclusion that black Seminoles was from West Africa. Now, the way he got to this was through a song, which, and this ain't no shot at the elder.
Got 1 minute
You know what I'm
left.
saying? That put in the work right here.
Got 1 minute left.
Only got 1 minute left.
Or your 5 minute intro, or you not? Or your 5 minute
And you
intro,
didn't.
or you not doing
Okay,
that?
And you didn't.
This is all good.
No, let him go. 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 He got 11 minutes.
Okay, so this is
Okay, just keep on. Okay, just keep on.
okay, so this is the black man that came up with the he had found the song in the he found the song in the Carolinas with the peoples that they were singing this song, and they connected it back to Africa. And this is another person from Europe that was working with him that he said whenever they were singing the song, and this is the song right here, a Mindy song, he said that one word, that song right there, that little small song right there, he said that one word, this word right here, it caught. This word right here, it said this is the connection for the black people and for the people in West Africa. Now, this is in the 1970s, 1980s. Before this, there is no primary documentation saying that these people are Gullahs, especially the black Seminoles, or none of that. So, bring it back. And that's the book right there that he had put together. So they taking one song and one word from in the song and saying this is the connection for all the black people, especially if you got a broken English that's in America, that you Gullah, and if you come from the Southeast. Now, this is how the song was sung. This is how it sounds.
And we all learned to sing the song. I think it goes something like, I woke up in the morning, come by Yahweh, today, Bombay. I woke up in the morning, come by Yahweh.
So that's the song, and they got it from a woman I'm for the show next, but this is her mother that taught her the song, and they say that her mama taught her, and that she was a slave from Africa, but they never knew what the song was. She said that she was singing and dancing to the song and never knew what the song was. Didn't nobody never tell them that it was a funeral song? It was nothing like that. But some white people told them, and we supposed to believe it. And that's the story. And that's how they connecting us with this one right here, no disrespect. And this is what the woman looked like right here. But this is what the woman looked like. The description of it, you see she was really didn't look African like that to me. And this is the woman that they went down there in Georgia to go interview. You know what I'm saying? That they got the song from. Shout out to the Morans. And
Displayed with her. I walk on moon, come by lily, Bombay. I walk on come by lily, when as well as that's fine. Because I didn't thought it was nothing but a little something to dance by. I did not knew it was a funeral hymn. Probably if I had known it, I would never dance by that thing, by that little song. I didn't know no better. She didn't know what it was herself. Her grandmother learned it to her. And so she taught it to us.
she taught it to them. Did nobody ever say it was an African song? Did nobody ever tell them this is Africa, this is Africa? Did nobody ever tell them nothing like that? Some white people told them this, and they saying, okay, this is your people's possibly.
these people right here. So what they did was they went over a trip over to Africa, and they went over to a place in Sierra Leone, and to welcome the Gullers. They put it all in the papers, and they went to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. They went to 20 places within this area, and right before they went over there, they mysteriously came up with the song weeks before. They found the song, like the old song, I guess the tape recording. They found that a week before, went over there. Did none of these villages understand what the hell was going on? But then they end up finding one village that was outside the area that they did their study in, and that was the connection. Now, when they were connected, before they took the people over, this is what the people that's in Georgia, which is the Morans, this is what they were saying before they went over there.
Part of the history was blank. There was that part of the history. That part of the history was blank. There was no names, no records, nothing that would connect me to a place in Africa, other than that somebody in my family were brought over here. From where? South Africa, West Africa, Middle Africa, where? We had no earthly idea.
So they in Georgia. They have no paperwork, no document. They right at the Atlantic. They right on the Atlantic Ocean. They been there forever. They ain't got no paperwork connecting them back to Africa. They saying this one song is connecting them back to Africa. Also, I want to give a shout out to my people, the Cudjos, because the twins did go over there, and them was my peoples. And this was during the time in the early times when, just when when Jesse Jackson just came out with what I'm saying, as far as the African American, it's that movement. And plus, on top of that, we trying to get our benefits. We trying to get broke off by by the Seminoles, because they done push us out push us out the tribe as far as getting the same benefits that they get. So, but Jason Napola, he came and helped them out. He was one of the people that was helping them out. So, what I'm saying? But they went over to Africa with them, what I'm saying, with the connection. Now, when they went over there and they came back, we got two news clippings now of a couple of things that I thought that was suspect. That the dude said that they were speaking Gullah and all this old type of stuff. When the Cudjos, these people right here, these people is principals, they're teachers, they're basketball coaches, they play for the Harlem Globetrotters. They talking about they speaking Gullah and all this old type of stuff. Ain't nobody in Oklahoma speaking no Gullah. None of my aunties, none of my grandmas, none of my peoples speak no Gullah. Never heard of it. And I'm also bust that down because he also said that a teacher in Texas had told him that black people was up in Oklahoma speaking with Gullah. And he from Oklahoma, he don't know nothing about it. Another white man from Texas is telling him, oh yeah, there's some black people up there that speak Gullah. He ain't never been up there. He got the feeling, or he think that it's going down like that because of our peoples down there in Bracketville, which he went down there and got to talking to the people. And he said that the people were speaking some type of Creole, and it sounded like Gullah. It wasn't even the same. So then, Jason Napola come up to Seminole. So this was his test. His gauge and test was, if some people look at him crazy, whenever he starts speaking Gullah, then but that should be the signs that they don't know what he's talking about. So he said that he came across some teenagers. He came across some teenagers and he got to talk to them, and he asked one of them, and he got to talk to them about some Gullah, got to talk to Gullah, whatever. And one of the teenagers said that, you know, I kind of hear something like that, you know what I'm saying, that my grandpa say, hash the lock, or hash the light, as far as turn off the light, which I ain't never heard that, nothing like that. But he say hash the light, which he said that's the same thing as octolight, as far as together, some old crazy shit like that. So he took that one instance. I'm talking to these kids. When he went and talked to the OG, you know what I'm saying? When he went and talked to the old head said, hold on, there's been some lynchings around here. Hey, you need to get from around here and move around. He ain't even talked to the old head. He talked to one teenager in Seminole and concluded that all the black Seminoles is damn gullah. That was his conclusion. So we got Wilbur Cudjoe, which one of those brothers, because there was two brothers who went over there. It was Lawrence and Lance, so I'm gonna show them, and I'm gonna show how I'm connected to them. Nigga just ain't playing with this. So we got Wilbur Cudjoe in 2002, and this is in a Daily Oklahoma, which he's saying that he's 78 years old. Shout out to the OG. That he believes.
They say you got 1 minute.
Okay, that he believes that his people is black. Hold on, man, I got a little video to play at the end, but hold on, let me just go and do it real quick. That he believes. So we ain't got no paperwork connecting us to Africa. We ain't got no paperwork connecting us to Africa, or nothing like that. But I do got the connection of being found over here and growing up within these villages and eating the same thing and speaking the same language as these people. We also got we also got 1996 when they said that, you know what I'm saying, when they went over there to Sierra Leone in 11 days, it said that it meant the world, even though in Dallas, I am an American first. Even though we had great camaraderie with the Africans, but I am an American first. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, it's time.
So then we got my people right here. Now these is people that these is
we know.
Huh?
We know.
Now
we know.
Hold on,
we
know.
He could get like he could get like 10
just about
seconds,
hold on,
10
it's only just about 3 more minutes. Let me get this little video off. Hold on, let me get this little video off. You know what I'm saying? It ain't even long. It's about 3 minutes. Now these is the people.
No, you can't do 3 minutes. You gotta do that later on.
Man, let me just put this in with this ain't nothing.
They moderating, bro.
Man, can you know it next time?
No, because I got a whole nother piece for the second round. All right, man, that's cool. All right.
Can you summarize it?
Nah, let me just bust. It's only 3 minutes, real quick. Hold on, let me just let this play. So these is the people. You know what I'm saying? That's the old school heads. That would have been the old school heads that he talking about. That should have been speaking like Gullah Geechee and all that. They don't speak no Gullah Geechee.
Freedmen cease fighting and come to Oklahoma with the Indians. But the freedmen made agreement that they would come, but they had to come with their guns on. So you see, the freedmen came here with their guns on. And they said the freedmen were slave to the Indian, but slaves don't wear no gun.
Slave don't wear no gun, and keep trying to say within the second round, I will be able to prove that we ain't no slaves and all that. We from that. I'll be able to bust that down. And I ain't playing about you know what I'm saying? I got my peoples in Texas, which they run the Seminole Indian Scout Cemetery. We got one of the chiefs down there, Tommy Lee Perryman, and I came across him at a family reunion out in California. And he one of the big dogs down there. And I came across him in California at a family reunion. That's me and my little brother and him. And the Cudjoes went out there in the early 19th. Are these just the Cudjoes descendants? Niggas ain't going down there for no reason. We been doing this.
They paid $10.
You know what I'm saying? But it's Abraham Boles Cudjoe connection.
The whole time he's saying, he keeps saying Cudjoe, trying to mispronounce the word. But we all know where the word Cujo comes from. That's coming directly from West Africa. That's exactly what it's doing. So I don't understand how he's at the point of trying to explain that these people are indigenous using African names, using African culture and resemblances. It's just amazing. However, I'm gonna let him continue. But before I do that though, real quick, hold on. Before I let him go. That little light bright baby. I just want to put that on the screen. I'm being a granddaddy right now. Let's get to it.
Ancestors. Are you done now?
No, I put him in the back.
Oh, Sean got extra 3.
Hey, ancestors. Meek was like, "Are you done now?" He just was gonna keep on going on and on and on. He was way past his time, so I had to put him in the back. All right, here we go. So y'all heard everything that he said, right? Now remember, he's the one still talking about this conversation. He's the one projecting around his feelings. I don't know if it's a self-esteem issue or whatever the case may be. But I need to explain to him what African American is. Okay, all right, but this is the case. So now it's my turn to respond.
3 minutes.
Pause the video. All right, so peace to everybody in the chat. It's your boy Sean P. Y'all know me, man. Member of the Mossi Warrior Clan. I'm going to drop an article after this, probably tomorrow. It's going to be on Same Tree Different Branch Publishing. And it's got everything to do with the reason for this debate, which is titled, "Who are the Black Seminoles? Are they Native, Indigenous, or he used the definition Aboriginal or African?" And we're going to get into that. And it's unfortunate that we had to. My computer must have been tripping. Come to this to deal with a historic moment and movement of a group of people who's already paid their dues and who have already proven their worth, their value, and who they are to everybody. Now, I do understand that Vino is someone who likes to cling on to the good pieces of history and try to redeem that for himself. But like I told y'all before, Black history is African American history. It has nothing to do with it. Are you listening? But no other group of people in the Americas. So here goes some promise during this whole thing that this is how my computer was acting. That's wild. John Horace and Nero. There's another one that I'm gonna mention in here, but you know, you heard him mention these people, but he really didn't get. Okay, so it ain't. It's hold on one second, y'all. At the end of this, the end of my first, since he went over 3 minutes, I'm gonna deal with the Amelia song real briefly, and something else. It's really not, what I'm gonna deal with. So the topic of who the Black Indians are, history books for some time. Unfortunately, since the emergence, hold on, since the let me make my screen full. You just keep the clock running on me. I don't even care. All right. Bro, I don't know what's going on
since the emergence. So since the emergence of the so-called Aboriginal movement, a group of historical
y'all tell
revisionists has made attempts to rewrite history. Without reviewing the evidence, they tend
I'm trying to listen.
Superimpose their beliefs onto who they believe the Black Sonos were. We just got a great example.
Let me do this. Hold on one. Yeah, hold on one second.
Since the emergence of the so-called Aboriginal movement, a group of historical revisionists has made attempts to rewrite history. Without reviewing the evidence,
they tend to superimpose their beliefs onto who they believe the black Seminoles were. We just got a great example of that in his first round. My opponent would display, and this is just proof positive. I predicted the future. My opponent would display that same lack of integrity in his argument and no research methodology, leading him to draw a faulty conclusion. All right, hold on 1 second, y'all. I really had to maneuver. I was trying to tell y'all that, but my computer, StreamYard, kicked me off. All right, here we go. What up next? There ain't no more in there. And you know it ain't. That's why you laughing. Back then, some of the ancients, by presenting not only DNA evidence that we know exactly who the Seminoles were, and blood type, or descendant of the black race of men in Africa. The word is never applied to the tawny or olive-colored inhabitants of the northern coast of Africa, but to the more southern race of men who are quite black. I knew he was going to go to 1828 and try to pull that whole definition out. So I went right back to that same source. Black, noun, that which is destitute of light or whiteness, the darkest color, or rather a distinction of all colors, as a cloth that has a good black. A Negro, a person whose skin is black. So let's just keep it there. The Black Seminoles, and these are definitions. The Black Seminoles were a group of African Americans primarily descended from escaped slaves who formed communities alongside Seminole Native Americans in Florida. This alliance emerged from shared experiences of oppression and a mutual desire for freedom, resulting in a unique cultural blend. The Black Seminoles were Africans, often runaway slaves, who were members of the Seminole tribe, a group of Native Americans who had left the Creek tribe and settled in Florida. The Black Seminoles were Blacks, a fugitive slaves who forged a strategic alliance with the Seminole Indians in Spanish Florida during the early 1800s. The Black Seminoles are a small offshoot of the Gullah, who escaped from the rice plantations in South Carolina and Georgia. They built their own settlements on the Florida frontier, fought a series of wars to preserve their freedom, and were scattered across North America. Runaway slaves forged close alliances with Florida Seminoles in the 18th and 19th centuries. Historians struggled to find an appropriate term for the persons of African descent living in Seminole country. In Florida, these people came to be known to historians as Black Seminoles or Seminole Maroons. The evidence. Mitochondrial DNA sequence variations was examined in 37 Seminoles from Florida by polymorphism chain reaction, application, and high-resolution restriction endonucleus analysis. I know it goes over your head, but pay attention. The Y chromosome type restrictions fragment length polymorphisms detected by the probes 49A, 49F, and 12F2 were examined in the 26 males of this group. Analysis of the mtDNA revealed that all 4 Native American haplogroups, A, B, C, and D, were present in Seminoles, encompassing about 95% of the Seminoles' mtDNAs. No European mtDNA were found among the Seminoles, but 2 mtDNAs, which was about 5%, were members of the African-specific haplogroup L1, thus indicating that a limited number of African women were incorporated in the Seminole tribe. Analysis of Y chromosome haplotypes supports the hypothesis that haplotypes 18 and 63 are the most likely found in Native American Y chromosome haplotypes from Asia. However, 11% of the Seminole Y chromosomes represented haplotypes generally attributed to Europeans, though none harbored standard African haplotypes. These findings support historical evidence that the Seminole tribe has integrated individuals of European and African ancestry, but suggest that the sex ratio of non-natives from different continents may have varied. The Seminole Indians of Florida were studied on their 3 reservations for blood types, red cell enzymes, serum proteins, physical measurements, and relationships. Both serological and morphologic factors suggest their close similarity to other Indians and small amount of admixture. The Florida Seminoles are similar to the Cherokee full-bloods in their absence of RHO and their incidence of O and M. In the presence of Den, they are similar to other Indians, especially those of South America, while the presence of G6PDA and frequency of HGB S are indicative of Negro ancestry. The absence of RHO suggests that the Negro contribution must have been small. Physical traits give parallel results. Both serology and morphology further show that the Seminoles of the Dania and Big Suppressed reservations are more similar to each other than to those of the Brighton Reservation, in keeping with their history. Before I go any further, ladies and gentlemen, by properly defining who the Seminoles are, by presenting not only DNA evidence that we know exactly who the Seminoles were, and blood type, we went to the blood quantum to also measure it up. There's a line specifically written by Gerald Forbes here, and I ain't even gonna get to all of that because I'm about to yield my time so I can see which move he wants to make after I deal with Amelia. There's this line in here, and I want y'all to see it real closely. And it says an actual count of the group in 1823 produced a total of 4,883 Seminoles, none of whom were Negroes. I properly defined who a Negro was. I told you what they mean when they get with black. We properly got definitions of who the Seminoles were. Now I'm going to stop right here because I know that's way too much for someone unprepared on how to deal with this particular topic. So I want to bring you real briefly to a few key points. The Gullah Geechee culture of the Sea Islands of Georgia has retained ethnic traditions from West Africa. Since the mid-1700s, although the island, along with the southeastern U.S. coast harbor, the same collective of West Africans, the name Gullah, has come to be the accepted name of the islanders in South Carolina, while the Geechee refers to the islanders of Georgia. That's how you get Gullah Geechee. So now, I'm going to skip ahead for this because he tried to play the language game, okay? So most anthropologists and historians speculated but have not confirmed the term the Gullah deemed the cultural names of the islanders, derived from one of several African ethnicities or specific locations in Angola and the Windward Coast. Other researchers speculate that the Gullah and Geechee are borrowed words from any number of ethnic groups along the Windward Coast, such as Gola, Kissi, Mindi, Timni, Twi, and Vai, that contributed to the creolization of the coastal culture in Georgia and South Carolina. What the hell does any of this have to do with anything? Linguist Lorenzo Dow Turner researched and documented spoken words on the coast during the 1930s, traced similarities to ethnic groups in West Africa, then published the Gullah Dialect Lexicon, Africanisms in the Gullah Dialect. His research confirms the evolution of a new language based on West African influences and English. Many words in coastal culture could be matched to the ethnic groups in West Africa, thereby linking the Geechee and the Gullah people to their origins. Margaret Washington Creel, in A Peculiar People, Slave Religion and Community Culture Among the Gullahs in 1988, identifies cultural and spiritual habits that relate to the similar ethnic groups of West Africans who are linked by language. Her research on the coastal culture complements Turner's findings that Africans of the Sea Islands created a new identity despite the tragic conditions of slavery. Let me move on to the move on. Here's who he kept bringing up. Joseph Apala, ethnomusicologist Cynthia Smith, and a linguist, Tazif Cormo, came across Turner's tape recording in 1989 and began tracing its origins not only to Moran, who was living in the Harris Neck, Georgia, but also to the Bendu Jabita in Senhum in Gola, Sierra Leone, who was the last person in her village with knowledge of the song. So when he kept saying All this, they didn't know this, and they didn't know that, and they didn't know it was an African song or whatever it was coming from. No, ladies and gentlemen, they went to the lady who was the last one to have remembrance of the song, meaning it was retained because she knew it as a child. So again, to this song, you're gonna see another image of this sister right here. This is Amelia's song, definitely Gullah in its version, and goes all the way through. I'm not gonna give it away to everybody because he just played bits and pieces of it. But I just wanted to bring that to your attention, and now I can move on. So Amelia's song is one of the most fascinating stories in African American drama of the Maafa Atlantic slavery. A Mindi woman captured, transported, and enslaved in the Southern America had carried within her a song of mourning. Not what he just told you. A Mindi woman. She carried the song across the Atlantic. That is how they know. This Mindi song was a dirge sung by women during a ceremony called Tinjami, or crossing the river. One can imagine that in crossing the Atlantic, the Mindi women would have felt the need, felt that she had died. I'm not going to go too far of it because, as you know, he just took us off the railroad tracks. So I'm gonna stay right on the subject matter of the topic of the debate. I don't want to go no further left, no further right. He ain't proved shit about these people, and I'm yielding back my time.
Thanks. I was about to say time.
I went too long on that. It should have been 5 minutes. My bad. Let me mute out and let me get it screen.
Did it froze? Because I still see Sean Star.
Nah, hold on. Let me stop. Okay, you should be able to see.
1 second. 1 second.
1 second, y'all hear me?
Yeah, we hear you now. We hear you now.
Okay. So, hold on. Let me go on and bring it. Hold on. Don't even start it yet. Hold on. Because I want to play my shit while we get there. Hold on. Finish up where we was at.
They paid $10 to get on the road, I hear. And if you came from Florida with Seminole Indians or your ancestors, and they were on the roads, well, come on down by lineal descent, and they allocated land. We got the map. Everybody they issued that land to. Some of them did real well because he got land that had oil reserves on it. Of course, that land's gotten away. We had some of the same conditions they had down in Florida, where they just told people to just go them out of deed, told people to get off the land they own. You know, they're not gonna put it in history books where how they got over a lot of this land. They're not gonna put that in history books.
People today, especially elderly people, some of whom are old enough to have been original Latis, they remember this period.
Which that's my people's, that's my Aunt Helen, that's my grandpa's auntie, that's my grandpa's mama's sister, which is a Cudjoe, which is King Cudjoe's descendants, and she fit to spit some game, and she sound like my Aunt Joycey and laugh like her.
Period very well.
Helen Thurman, born in 1902, was listed on the allotment rolls as a newborn.
Now, which is which? Lance. Who's Lance? That's what I thought. Yeah, got a good fire. I'm a newborn. You a newborn. Uh-huh. Yeah. All the newborn has got 40 acres. But some got 60s, the older ones. first class land. It got 60 acres. Granddaddy, his name was John Cudgel. He got a good grade of land. It's right east of Middle Creek Church, down off in that bottom. Oh, it was wonderful. But after he passed away, so many heirs, one sell, this one sell, and some they petitioned him out, you know. Mm-hmm. Didn't get nothing. Didn't give them nothing, but still they took it.
And that house we just seen, I just slept in that house before. Now, another thing that I want to bring about that is that whenever dude got down in Texas to Brackenville, whenever he was talking to them, they was already speaking the language called Thai or flat top. They wasn't calling it gutter. And another thing he want to talk about is black. So we got people that's connected to the Forbes. With these is the Britons. These is the people that freed the Africans. These is the but these is the white people that's supposed to did everything. The Britons within their books. This is a book from the 1700s, which is a children's book, which where they teach the children. Like the same way that we got the alphabet books. The A is for apple, B is for B, C is for cat. They had the same things back then, and they connected to the Forbes, which was connected to the slave trade in Florida with the Leslie Company. Now let's see what they said what black was.
One moment.
Black man and woman and natives from warm countries. It had nothing to do about Africa. It was just about the black people that was all across the whole world that they been finding. So we're gonna nip that at the bud. And let me go with this. Hold on. Now this lady right here that he fits to be talking about is a lady that's on this road with a lady that was caught within the first people that was caught within the Second Seminole War that was caught up with my peoples in January 27th of 1837, and they all got caught up. Her name is Betsy. This is Betsy. She 45. She locked in with people that never had a master. They been in Florida forever. Speak the language, been doing this, but they gonna say, they peoples ran away, or they grandpa or they great grandpa ran away. I'm gonna bust that down too. But let's see what C got to say.
Or survivor.
Now this is from a newspaper, since they try to bring up this news article from the 1900s. We got a person that was born in the 1700s, and but this news article came out in the 1890s, and she telling them what the game is. Now let's see what she say.
So here's the newspaper Negroes in Texas who saw the struggle in the Everglades. Oklahoma City, Oklahoma Territory, November 18th. Of course, this is before Oklahoma became a state. It will be interesting to know that there has been discovered recently at Fort Clark in western Texas a woman known as Aunt Betsy Payne, who lives with a small detached remnant of the Seminoles in that vicinity. Aunt Betsy Payne believes she is over 100 years old. So, of course, 1899, she was born in the late 1700s, probably 1790s. She stoutly maintains that she has Seminole blood in her veins, though her color and features indicate that she is certainly a full-blooded African, and that's kind of a biased and racist statement. She evidently has lived with the Seminoles all her life, and she is regarded highly by the Indians because she is the widow of Chief Payne, a famous warrior. And Betsy says that she has grown as a grown girl when the trouble occurred between the United States and Spain over the invasion of Florida by General Jackson. Spain ceded Florida to the United States in 1821, and by the terms of the treaty made between the great powers, all runaway slaves were to be returned to their masters upon proof of ownership. Aunt Betsy says that one exception was made to this clause in favor of the Negro wives of the Seminole warriors. She distinctly remembers that King Payne told her all about this matter and asked her if she would not like to be his squaw, warning her at the time that the white soldiers might make lying papers and take her away unless she is consented to the arrangement that he had suggested.
That the soldiers gonna make lying papers, fake bill of sales, which what they been doing since day one, to be able to hunt black people in Florida. They've been in Florida for thousands of years before the white people got there. That was found by them. Now we're gonna go to the notices of Florida and the campaigns, and we're gonna see what they got to say. Now she was the wife of the chief, so she can't. So she know the pains. She can to the pains. Micanopy, y'all them. They know what's these is Yamaseeds. Niggas say, what's your tribe? What's your tribe? Yamaseed. This is a woman that's talking, and we looking at what's going on as far as them, but still in identity. Look at shit because you look like some niggas over there that we done already seen. So you gotta be from Africa, even though they found this over here. Now let's see the next thing they gonna say about the Yamasees. The Yamasees are remarkably black people. They're black people. This is the book this is the first Second Seminole War. They wrote this in 1836. Black people always been over here. So they try to take it back to they try to take it back but to 1722, but we go back before that because they try to say what? Fort Moses is supposed to be the first on the Fort Moses supposed to be the first black settlement in America. No, it's not the first black settlement in America. I got that too. Which they done changed the words on that. Hold on. What they talking about? So we got Payne again in the game. Hold on, what they saying? Hold on. He's saying that he got 2 wives. He got a pretty squaw and he got a half-breed negress. And they try to say she was ugly. I already been over her, locked in the game. These people that was found by these people, they found by these people, right? But they saying that they African is because the look of shit, but they ain't calling them African back then. They calling them Negroes, which is black, which we've seen the term, which is just the black man and woman from the warm countries. What's the next game in here? Hold on. Yeah, but this is some of the turf that they was in. You got the Creeks coming in doing their thing. This is some of their landmarks. Back then, some of the ancients. Proven determined that it's respect the maroon Negroes who live among them niggas can't even determine the number. There's too many niggas. You heard what General Jessup said whenever they said it was Seminole War. No, this is a Negro war. They didn't even know there's too many niggas popping out.
This time.
Hold on. We got Johnson. Hold on. We got
Hold on, man. Hold on, why just do
Just
that?
say time.
We're talking about
Well,
this
hold
time.
on.
Hold on.
If it's time, it's time.
Hold on. Hold on. We got
Well, hold on.
hold on. We
If
got
it's time,
Indians. He running 200 Indians. We got a black man running.
Vino, bro.
It's time, Vino. Relax, bro.
can't be. Hold on. You had enough time.
All right. So, real briefly, he is yet to prove that the Seminole are native, indigenous, or aboriginal
Y'all ain't even
to the Americas.
Y'all
I
ain't
hope
even
you
giving
started my time. Your time was over, Vino. All right. So I want to go to the exiles of Florida because this is really where he's kind of picking up. So I'm just going to jump on where he thought he was moving, right? This was crimes committed by the government against the Maroons who fled from South Carolina and other slave states seeking protection under the Spanish laws. Okay, so Florida was originally settled by Spaniards in 1558. They were the first people to engage in the African slave trade and sought to supply other nations with servants from the coast of Guinea. The colonists held many slaves, expecting to accumulate wealth by the unrequited toil of their fellow men. The people of Georgia were not satisfied with the existing state of things. They were greatly excited at seeing those who had once been slaves in South Carolina and in Georgia now live quietly and happily in the enjoyment of liberty with their flocks and their herds, their wives, and their little ones around them. But they were on Spanish soil protected by Spanish laws. The only mode of enslaving them was, firstly, to obtain jurisdiction of the territory, and the annexation of Florida to the United States was accordingly urged upon the federal government. This is also one of the reasons for inspiring the conflicts or the Indian wars. And it wasn't just a black war. They wanted to re-enslave some of them people who ended up really being re-enslaved. But let's continue. I just thought that it was kind of cute that you want to go in that direction. Anyway, so this is Black Seminole Facts for Kids. This is out of the Kids Encyclopedia Facts. Hold on, Champagne. 1 second, Sharpie. Don't do that. Don't start, Sharpie. Don't try to talk like me, Sharpie. I'm trying to let you know what's going on. As early as 1689, black peoples escaped from South Carolina's low country to Spanish Florida, looking for freedom. These peoples slowly formed what is now known as the Gullah culture. In 1693, King Charles II of Spain made a rule that black runaways would be free if they helped defend the Spanish settlers at St. Augustine, Sean P. The Spanish created a black army. The settlement at Fort Mossi, which you just brought up, Vino, started in 1738, was the first legally recognized free black town in North America. That's why it's called the first black. town because it was legally recognized. After the Treaty of Paris in 1763, which ended the 7 Years' War and the interpreter for Micanopy. Let's finish. Let's get him out of here, please. Quit playing with this kid. Black Seminoles. On several occasions, Seminoles and their African allies banded together in the defense of their homelands. Who was banding together? The Seminoles. So I want to go to the Exiles of Florida because this is really where he's kind of picking up. So I'm just going to jump on where he thought he was moving, right? This was crimes committed by the government against the Maroons who fled from South Carolina and other slave states seeking protection under the Spanish laws. Okay, so Florida was originally settled by Spaniards in 1558. They were the first people to engage in the African slave trade and sought to supply other nations with servants from the coast of Guinea. The colonists held many slaves expecting to accumulate wealth by the unrequited toil of their fellow men. The people of Georgia were not satisfied with the existing state of things. They were greatly excited at seeing those who had once been slaves in South Carolina and in Georgia now live quietly and happily in the enjoyment of liberty with their flocks and their herds, their wives and their little ones around them. But they were on Spanish soil protected by Spanish laws. The only mode of enslaving them was, firstly, to obtain jurisdiction of the territory, and the annexation of Florida to the United States was accordingly urged upon the federal government. This is also one of the reasons for inspiring the conflicts or the Indian Wars, and it wasn't just a black war. They wanted to re-enslave some of them people who ended up really being re-enslaved. But let's continue. I just thought that it was kind of cute that you would want to go in that direction. Anyway, so this is Black Seminole Facts for Kids. This is out of the Kids Encyclopedia Facts. Hold on, Champy. Champy, 1 second, Champy. Don't do that. Don't start, Champy. Don't try to talk like me, Champy. I'm trying to let you know what's going on. As early as 1689, Black peoples escaped from South Carolina's low country to Spanish Florida looking for freedom. These peoples slowly formed what is now known as the Gullah culture. In 1693, King Charles II of Spain made a rule that Black runaways would be free if they helped defend the Spanish settlers at St. Augustine, Sean P. The Spanish created a Black army, the settlement at Fort Mose, which you just brought up, Vino. Started in 1738, was the first legally recognized free Black town in North America. That's why it's called the first Black town, because it was legally recognized. After the Treaty of Paris in 1763, which ended the 7 Years' War, which was the Spanish Florida was given the Kingdom of Great Britain, the area continued to be a safe place for runaway slaves from the southern colonies because it was not heavily settled. Many escaped Black people found safety near growing Native American settlements. But who the fuck are these people? Who are the Black Seminoles? So we're going to go to the Jessup's diary. In Jessup's diary, which I have the primaries in the description of this video for anybody that wants any of the sources you see on the screen, in Jessup's diary, he highlights something that is very specific about who these Black people were in Florida. What does he say? First, let me tell you what it does do. The diary illustrates Jessup's frustration with the leaders' reluctance to assemble their people and at the same time describe their ability to live in the otherwise inhospitable terrain of southern Florida. Jessup discusses his reasonings behind policies toward Indian property especially African American slaves who Seminoles intended to bring with them west of the Mississippi. Although Jessup viewed all African living among the Seminole, he said all Africans living among the Seminoles as slaves, his perception oversimplified the status of many of the African Americans living among the Florida Indians. While some Africans were held in bondage by Seminole masters, some attained important positions within the tribe, such as Abraham, the advisor and the interpreter for Micanopy. Let's finish. Let's get him out of here, please. Quit playing with this kid. Black Seminoles. On several occasions, Seminoles and their African allies banded together in the defense of their homelands. Who was banding together? The Seminoles and the fucking Africans. In 1812, a combined force of Africans and Seminoles repelled Georgians, known as the Patriot Army, who intended to capture slaves and cede parts of Spanish Florida for the United States. So what happens? Seminoles and who? Black Seminoles pushed back when American officials attempted to enforce the Indian Removal Act in Florida. In late 1835 and early 1836, Seminoles and their African allies launched a series of raids on U.S. Army fortifications and attacked sugar plantations in East Florida. Africans enslaved on these plantations fled during the chaos, and in many cases, who did they join? The rest of the Black Seminoles. Fuck out of here. Let's get to this work. During the 18th century, the majority of slaves arriving in Carolina came from West Central Africa, including Angola, Senegambia, the Windward Coast, Sierra Leone, and the Gold Coast. Of the 63,401 African slaves shipped to South Carolina between 1733 and 1807, their origins were as follows: 20% Senegambian, 23% Windward Coast, 13% Gold Coast, Wida Benin Calabar, 4%, from the Congo, 17%, Angola, 23%. What are we talking about? These are the same people that fled into Florida. Runaway slave advertisements. I don't know if y'all can see the picture because this mug is tripping. You might be able to see it. Let me know if y'all can see the picture. It don't even matter. It don't even matter. What was right here is a slave advertisement. The advertisement notices in South Carolina indicated that during the 1730s, approximately 57% of the runaways came from the Congo-Angola region. Meaning all them people in South Carolina that was fleeing was coming from the Congo and Angola region. During 1740s, the percentage of Congo-Angola runaways increased to 61%. Between 1735 and 1765, Congo natives made up the majority of former slaves listed in the St. Augustine records of Black marriages. Ladies and gentlemen, what I just did to you was give you information that was pertinent, told you that these people were coming from Congo and Angola, fleeing in high percentages. Those people were going into St. Augustine. Where is that? Florida. Next. Francisco Mendez. No. I'm gonna stop. I want to yield back my time. I want him to go. Let him go. Let him go. I'm yielding my time.
Okay.
I ain't gonna deal with no more of the other stuff. Let me mute out. Let me put hold up. Let me back on the screen.
So here's the newspaper.
Hold on. Don't start me yet. Yeah, yield my time. Yeah, let me take his little goofy ass nigga. Hold on, where was I at with it? Where was I at with it? Yeah, hold on. Oh,
So here's the
Hold on.
newspaper article.
Where was that? So we got John Caesar taking it over with 200 Indians. How he doing that if he a slave? Hold on. We gonna do this. And then you got Yaha Hojo, which is a black man. Yamasee, he mixed with Yamasee. You got him and Billy Uchi. You got him and Billy Uchi, which they had their skulls, and they couldn't even determine the race. They couldn't determine the race with the two skulls. Let me tell you who these people is. Hold on. So you got him and Abraham hooking up, doing their thing, running up on. And Abraham, he got a nickname named Yobi. How the nigga got a nickname? The nigga got a nickname named Yobi. How that happened? And he grew up with these people. You know what I'm saying? His whole life. And these are some of the towns which we have more than this. We had way more than this. We had way more than this. Way more than this before all this. So hold on. Because I'm supposed to put this nigga in a body bag. Since he tried to go at the Fort Mose. Nah, it ain't Fort Mose. It ain't Fort Mose. It's Santa Catalina de Africa, which they was there before they just switched up the name. What they say, Fort Mose 1730. No, it's not the first black settlement. Because whenever they first settled in Charleston in 1670, they did an Indian raid. They said they fit to run up on the Timacoas. They said they fit to run up on the Timacoas in 1685. And look at the town. They running up on Santa Catalina de Africa. They all be happy about, oh yeah, what about the Congo Square? What about African Town? What about all these towns? What about Angola, even in Africa? It ain't even a slave port down there. That's just all these settlements, and they just putting these African towns on there. I don't know what's going on in these other places, but over here, it's going down, been going down. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Let me put this nigga in the body bag. Hold on. I ain't playing with this nigga. Hold on. It's over with. It's over with. Hold on. It's over with. We got to hold on. Let me go and blow this up. We got the Spanish settlements. We got the Spanish settlements. So we got the first dude that go to St. Augustine. He say that in Puerto Rico, it's more than 15,000 Negroes. It's goddamn 30,000 Negroes in Hispaniola. It's 20,000 in Cuba. It's 20,000. It's 20,000 in all these places. And by 1750, if you go look, no, I'm not 1750. I'm tripping. By 1570, because he got over there in 1565, which he didn't even take no black people over there at first. He didn't even take no black people over there. He had the authority to be able to take black people, but he didn't. He didn't even take no black people over there. But he's saying that but it's this many people, but that's over there, right? All right, so peep this out. I didn't already told you. Hold on. Let me get this together. Hold on. Let me get this together because he tried to come slick and he tried to shorten up his time. And I'm still trying to put some stuff up in here, which we supposed to get to it. Hold on.
So peep this out. Yeah, look. They won't let me. Dang. Hold on. Okay. Okay, so we got to bust that down. Okay. So whenever he first came over here, this how he building it up. No, this is how he built it up. He had the privilege of transporting. He had the privilege of transporting 500 Negroes from these places. He had the privilege. He didn't even do it. He didn't even do it. He didn't even do it. He failed to bring them. And the first slaves that they brought over there was white. And when he first came over there, he found black people. He found black people when he came over there at first. Hold on, let me put this in here real quick. Hold on. Hold on real quick. Hold on real quick. Hold on real quick. Real quick.
Did you know?
You know, damn, this is crazy. Shit, goofy as hell. So if you come to this book, you already know that they found the black people in America. They found the black people in America. So what did Christopher Columbus say when he first came over here? That the people was the brunette color. They was the dark brown color when they came over. The niggas was the dark brown. Oh yeah, what else they say? They was in right before they found the Pacific Ocean in Panama, in Curica. They said that they thought that they was Ethiopian pirates that shipwrecked in the mountains. That was their justification of finding these first people that they called the Cimarroons, which is the Seminoles, which is the same people that's in Florida that they put. It's so crazy that they put the same term on the people in Florida. This is back when they first discovered the Pacific Ocean. Discovered, found. You see, found right here. They found the Negroes. Okay, we got some more. Okay, we got some more on this same topic. Okay, for the life and voyage of the Christopher Columbus. Hold on, we going back because in 1498, before they even discovered South America, but the people that's in Hispaniola said that the black men come from the South with the gold-tipped javelins. They said that. That's what the people in Hispaniola said. And we just got done showing the people that they found in that same area. So we're going to keep it going. These are people that's found over here. And just like I showed in the beginning, use an Indian, Aboriginal, American, if you found in America by the Europeans. Hold on, we're going to keep it going. We got more sources on this. Hold on. Discoveries. Yeah. Hold on, what did it say? They found the Negroes in that same area. This is the same place. They just changed up. You know what I'm saying? But they just spelled it different, but this is the same story. It's coming from a different walk of life. They found these Negroes over here in Panama, just like they found all these other niggas over here in all these other places where I just gave you the crazy number. They said it's 20,000, 20,000 over here, 30,000 over here. And if you add up the African transatlantic slave trade,
it don't add up to, because those numbers add up to over 200,000. That don't add up to over 200,000 if you look at the first man that went to St. Augustine, and you know that the people from uh, Charlestown came down there, and they went to the first place called Santa Catalina de Africa, which is the first black settlements, which is not the first black settlement because it's a lot of the black settlements, but that is in text to where we can see that, and it's in the same area. How did the same people, because they say in 1687, the black people had came from South Carolina. How they know to go to that place? How they know to go to this same place? This is the indigenous people that's over here. That's the Seminoles that been putting it down, that didn't want to get up out of there, but we got up out of there. It was too many waves. They've come from New York, all these bust ass niggas, and these bust ass niggas was on their team doing their whole gay ass shit, nigga representing the gay ass shit. Hold on, we got some more. We got some more. I got another source. We even got it in Spanish. If you come to these pages right here, page 37, page 144,
1 minute, Jimmy. 1 minute, Jimmy.
and if you go to that chapter right there, and if you translate it, it's going to talk about the same story that I just got done talking about the black people being found in America. And it's going to be talking about when the first governor or the first person that was running was shit in Mexico. When he went to Peru, he said that he seen 500 leagues of niggas. That's 1,500 miles. That's from where I'm from right now to New York. That's what the nigga said. So all this old goofy ass shit that this nigga talking about, this nigga done, nigga. This nigga over with, nigga. And I got some more shit going on too, nigga. These niggas wouldn't let me cook, nigga. I got some more shit. Put this nigga in a body bag, nigga. It's over with, nigga.
Oh, you can keep going right now.
Oh, okay. I can keep cooking. I can keep cooking, huh?
We waiting for Sean to come back. We waiting for Sean to come back.
Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. No, this ain't even the one. Hold on. This ain't even the one. Let me cook because he done. He done. He ain't got nothing else to say. He ain't got nothing else to say. He done. He done. And about the Seminoles. Oh, yeah, what they say, that the exiles, they giving them all type of names. They giving them the exiles. Now they the exiles. They was called by the Creeks the Seminoles. And what they say at the bottom, it say, yeah, it was originally used for the reference of these exiles long before the Seminole Indians had separated from the Creek. I told you that's the niggas that's in Santa Catalina, the Africa. Stop it. Hold on. Let me cook some more. Niggas
Hey
playing
man, your
around, nigga.
time up, man.
Video
for a reason. The man literally just used a source that's talking about people from Africa. He said it once, I let it slide. He said it again, I let it slide. Usually, if I take you serious, I would have broke down your argument and showed you all the flaws in your argument, but I don't take you serious. And there's no way I am finna allow you to waste my time doing that. Now, if I just want to be humorous and make jokes, I could have spoofed you up and it would have been laughable as well, because
You just read a source title that tells you about people from Africa, and you're arguing about that. Just in this round alone, you went from Florida to Panama to Cuba or Hispaniola, somewhere else in the Caribbean, back to Florida, back to Panama, and then you just went on a rant. That's a clear indication that you don't have a command for the information, one. Two, you have no chronology. No one can follow you when we're talking about Black Seminoles, and we got a date on that. And then you take us back 200 years to something that is irrelevant. And then you take us back a little further than that because you're trying to make so many arguments in one. You're all the way off topic. You've been off topic in each one of these rounds, and I just kept letting you just be off topic, off topic, off topic. You performed poorly, for one. You had no chronology or methodology, for two. And you shouldn't even have been talking, bro. Because you said on Not a Coincidence's show last night that I did not tie the Gullah Geechee to the Black Seminoles, and I did that in the second round after I dealt with the biological makeup of the Seminole people, the original Seminoles, which is the natives, the Indians. And then when you put black in front of it, I told you how the black people became the Seminoles using science, history, and culture. You brought out the linguistic work, which is the best known linguistic work in this conversation. So I didn't need to do anything. Linguistically, you refuted yourself. So all I did was go back over what you shown and corrected you because I actually had the sources where you were just talking over a video. And there was more to it than you led on, which is part of your problem. So let me go ahead and hit play so I can move on. Hey man, your time up, man. Thank you. Thank you. We gave you like 15 minutes. And I gave him more time in this little argument than I used. Before I get going, let me just go on and get him on up out of here again. He ain't properly defined or showed any evidence of who the fucking Black Seminoles are. He didn't answer the question. But you did do this. Let me make sure y'all can hear this.
Indeed, in some of the towns, which we have more than this. We had way more than this. We had way more than this. Way more than this before all this. So hold on. Because let's put this nigga in the body bag.
Come on, put me in the body bag.
He tried to go at the Fort Mose. Nah, it ain't Fort Mose. It ain't Fort Mose.
What is it?
It's Santa Catalina de Africa, which they was there.
Say that name again.
They just switched up the name.
Say the name again.
But they say Fort Mose 1730. No, it's not the first black settlement.
What's the name, V-Note?
Because whenever they first settled in Charleston in 1670, they did an Indian raid. They said they better run up on the Timacuas. They said they better run up on the Timacuas in 1685.
V-Note, you know you fucked up, don't you? You know you fucked up, don't you? You sit there and said Africa. You sit there and said what they called it, and at the last word of that name, what they called it was Africa. Then you showed this, what I got on the screen right here, that says Given the benefit of these historical lessons, it may be seen that Spain organized Florida for reasons both internal to the empire and personal to the colonies founded. You didn't read this. It probably came as a big surprise that when Pedro Menendez de Alvarez established St. Augustine in 1565, he found persons of African descent remaining in the peninsula from prior European expeditions. Further, although Menendez brought with him the institution of Spanish slavery, he found it difficult to maintain. So even in your source that you just brought up, brother, he's telling you that the presence of Africans was in Spanish Florida. He didn't make nothing up. You did. So let the beat build, since we talking about Menendez, since you wanted to go, that's why I stopped. Because I knew what you was going to try to do. There's only so much information on these people. Francisco Menendez was an African-born slave who obtained freedom and became a militia captain, co-sier, and co-founder of the first free black town in what would become the United States. Menendez was probably born in Gambia, region of West Africa, around 1700. He was enslaved at a young age and taken to Carolina to perform plantation work. Menendez took advantage of the chaos of the 1715, 1717. You kept bringing this shit up. Mossi War, which united Indian tribes and escaped slaves against the English colonists of Carolina. To escape the Spanish Florida with his wife, Ana Maria de Escobar, and others. So in 1718, the Africans who had fled to Florida were sold to Francisco Menendez Marquez. From this relationship, Menendez acquired his name and was baptized as a Catholic. His original and other names are unknown, but remained enslaved. So in 1726, Menendez was appointed captain of the St. Augustine Black Militia, which was active in raids against Carolina in defense of St. Augustine. Menendez also became literate and petitioned the governor to free him and 30 other blacks who had come to Florida or Havana under Spanish religious sanctuary policy. The governor acceded in 1738 and granted freedom for all the slaves who had fled or would flee from Carolina. Tell the whole fucking story. At the same time, he established and fortified community for free blacks under Menendez's leadership, known as Gracia Real de Santa Teresa de Mossi. The community became a vocal point of tension between British Carolina and Spanish Florida, culminating in a bloody battle in 1740 in which the soldiers lost a fort, but saved by St. Augustine. The African community moved to St. Augustine after the destruction of Fort Mossi. This is where Menendez became a Spanish co-sier. When his ship was captured by the English in 1741, Menendez was given 200 lashes and tortured by having his wounds pickled in response to his role in the fighting of Fort Mossi. Then he was sold back into slavery in the Bahamas. Menendez reappears in the historical record in 1759 back in Florida as the free commander of the refounded Fort Mossi. Fuck is we talking about? During Florida's first period as a British colony, 1768 to 83, an increasing number of blacks began to inhabit the region. James Grant, governor of British East Florida, believed any evidence of who the fucking black Seminoles are. He didn't answer the question. But you did do this. I'm gonna make sure y'all can hear this.
Indeed, in some of the towns, which we have more than this. We have way more than this. We have way more than this. Way more than this before all this. hold on. Because let's put this nigga in the body bag.
Come on, put me in the body bag.
See how they go at the Fort Mose. Nah, it ain't Fort Mose. It ain't Fort Mose.
What is it?
It's Santa Catalina de Africa, which they was there.
Say that name again.
They just switched up the name.
Say the name again.
But they say Fort Mose 1730. No, it's not the first black settlement.
What's the name, V-Note?
Because whenever they first settled in Charleston in 1670, they did an Indian raid. They said they better run up on the Timacoas. They said they better run up on the Timacoas in 1685.
V-Note, you know you fucked up, don't you? You know you fucked up, don't you? You sit there and said Africa. You sit there and said what they called it, and at the last word of that name, what they called it was Africa. Then you showed this, what I got on the screen right here, that says, given the benefit of these historical lessons, it may be seen that Spain organized Florida for reasons both internal to the empire and personal to the colonies founded. You didn't read this. It probably came as a big surprise that when Pedro Menendez de Alvarez established St. Augustine in 1565, he found persons of African descent remaining in the peninsula from prior European expeditions. Further, although Menendez brought with him the institution of Spanish slavery, he found it difficult to maintain. So even in your source that you just brought up, brother, he's telling you that the presence of Africans was in Spanish Florida. He didn't make nothing up. You did. So let the beat build. Since we talking about Menendez, since you wanted to go, that's why I stopped. Because I knew what you was going to try to do. There's only so much information on these people. Francisco Menendez was an African-born slave who obtained freedom and became a militia captain, co-sier, and co-founder of the first free black town in what would become the United States. Menendez was probably born in Gambia, region of West Africa, around 1700. He was enslaved at a young age and taken to Carolina to perform plantation work. Menendez took advantage of the chaos of the 1715, 1717. You kept bringing this shit up. Mossi War, which united Indian tribes and escaped slaves against the English colonists of Carolina. To escape the Spanish Florida with his wife, Ana Maria de Escobar, and others. So in 1718, the Africans who had fled to Florida were sold to Francisco Menendez Marquez. From this relationship, Menendez acquired his name and was baptized as a Catholic. His original and other names are unknown, but remained enslaved. So in 1726, Menendez was appointed captain of the St. Augustine Black Militia, which was active in raids against Carolina in defense of St. Augustine. Menendez also became literate and petitioned the governor to free him and 30 other blacks who had come to Florida or Havana under Spanish religious sanctuary policy. The governor acceded in 1738 and granted freedom for all the slaves who had fled or would flee from Carolina. Tell the whole fucking story. At the same time, he established and fortified community for free blacks under Menendez's leadership, known as Gracia Real de Santa Teresa de Mossi. The community became a vocal point of tension between British Carolina and Spanish Florida, culminating in a bloody battle in 1740 in which the soldiers lost a fort, but saved by St. Augustine. The African community moved to St. Augustine after the destruction of Fort Mose. This is where the Menendez became a Spanish co-sier. When his ship was captured by the English in 1741, Menendez was given 200 lashes and tortured by having his wounds pickled in response to his role in the fighting of Fort Mose.
Then he was sold back into slavery in the Bahamas. Menendez reappears in the historical record in 1759 back in Florida as the free commander of the refounded Fort Mossi. Fuck is we talking about? During Florida's first period as a British colony, 1768 to 83, an increasing number of blacks began to inhabit the region. James Grant, governor of British East Florida, believed that the economic development and overall prosperity of the colony relied upon the institution of slavery. He began to offer new settlers 100 acres per head of household and an additional 50 acres for every white and black person in the family, causing slave importation to increase tremendously. Florida produced a 2-to-1 ratio of slaves to white. During this period, the average plantation had between 70 and 200 slaves. You know, you like to talk about not being enslaved or not being slaves and then coming from places that seem to be where the fucking slaves ran to. As a result, blacks were either purchased by Seminoles or given as presents. The going rate was 40 head of cattle. The quality of cattle corresponded with the quality of slave. Taking in consideration such factors as age, sex, weight, and condition, British officials would strengthen alliances with Seminole chiefs by presenting them with slaves as gifts. American State Papers and Indian Affairs on page 461 backs this shit up. Due primarily to the influx of runaway slaves, which in turn increased cohabitation, the relationship between runaways and Seminoles was also strengthened. Seminoles welcomed runaways. In time, when Florida became a Spanish colony once again, Seminoles began to forcibly take blacks in the North Florida region. This is from an 1873 document on page 225 from the U.S. Congressional Records and House of Representatives. It don't get no more primary than that. Seminole slaves consisted of both blacks and captured Indians. However, their institution of slavery was vastly different from both the English and Spanish societies. The slaves lived by themselves in their own villages with little or no supervision. Kenneth Porter describes the relationship as such. What did Kenneth Porter say? A system of relationship between the Seminole Indians and their blacks developed with which was the admiration of horror and all the beholders. The blacks lived in separate villages of well-built houses, raised crops, corn, sweet potatoes, and other vegetables, and even cotton, and possessed herds of livestock. Their masters, or rather protectors, never presumed to meddle with any of its property as long as they receive a reasonable tribute, generally believed to be 1/3 of their produce. They were in no case treated as chattels. That is from Anthony Dixon's Black Seminole Ethnogenesis, Origins, Cultural Characteristics, and Alliances. You need to do some reading, bro, and get up on this primary. The majority of Africans in Spanish colonies were forced into slavery. Notice what I keep saying here. But there was a portion of society made up of free black people. They were craftspeople, laborers, soldiers, artisans, and merchants. Although many people of African descent married other black people in their communities, cross-cultural marriages were common and legal, which fostered a multi-ethnic society in Spanish colonies. St. Augustine and Fort Mossi were no exception. Evidence supports a rich and complex society that blended African, Spanish, and Native American beliefs and traditions. Most Africans in Spanish Florida lived in St. Augustine both free and enslaved, and made up about 10% of the town's population. Many came from regions of West Africa, but also from places Cuba, Jamaica, Barbados, Antigua, Venezuela, Colombia, and the Canary Islands. Enslaved people who escaped from the Carolinas and came to live at Fort Mossi came from many different cultural groups in West Africa. You do not want this smoke coming up out of the primaries in Florida. Thank you. I ain't got no more to say.
Ding, 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 ding. Next.
All right, honey Clark. What y'all want to do? We questioning and answering, or what's the deal? Look at him. What you prove, Vino?
How you think you did, Vino?
I think I did good, and I wasn't even able to really get off like how I really wanted to get off. You know what I'm saying? But
Not
it's
enough
all
time.
good. Nah, there wasn't enough time, but it's all good. I still wiped them down. No, he's talking about a primary from 1873. Man, we got
What?
primaries. Yeah, you said your primary 1873 from
That's
the.
from
Okay,
the
let's
House
do.
of. All right, I'm not going to play this part of the discussion. As you can see, it was clear that there were two different types of arguments that were transpiring. You had one that used the methodology to answer the question, and then you had the other that tried to narrate over a YouTube video that they pieced together and try to argue for something. What Vino failed to mention is that you cannot have a biological conversation and then try to make it a social conversation. Yeah, Vino, exactly. Yeah, Vino tried to run around and he did this. I left, bro, listen. I left it alone. I let him run around with his 3-0 talking, 3-0 talking, and I never said nothing. Never said nothing. It didn't trigger me. It didn't do anything. Because if I go back and I break down each one of his rounds and show y'all the flaws in it, and then start pulling up the sources from what he's using, and then giving you more context, you're gonna see he's full of shit because he don't know what he's talking about. He's reading stuff, but he ain't really comprehending what he's reading because his belief is in the way. The mere fact that when you say the name Cujo and he pronounces it Cujo, I don't even care how he pronounces it. As soon as you say those names, you say that name with those letters, it immediately takes you back to the Akan tribe. He didn't win a single round because the very first round I got him out of there by using genetics to end the conversation. Because now, since we're dealing with biology, we're talking about the ethnicity, and we're talking about the Black Seminoles. Who are the Black Seminoles? Are they indigenous to the Americas? The Black Seminoles do not carry the haplogroups of the groups that we find in the Americas. Then he said, I didn't tie. Remember, Lucky, he just said it to you. He said that I didn't tie anything back to the Gullah. I went right back down and walked you right back down with the people running into Florida. Exactly. Voss have been telling you this for a long time. I just didn't take his approach toward the argument. He would have argued it a different way using all the internal sources from Oklahoma to beat you up. I just used the field. So I don't understand how you continue to run around here. Now you to try to hop up here twice. Ain't nothing to talk about. You went over there on Not a Coincidences channel, ran your mouth. Opened your mouth so wide you don't even know what you're talking about. Then you start talking, you keep talking about the Maroons in Panama. You just keep doing it over and over and over and over. Like, bro, you gotta get out of your own way. So I gave y'all a book. I gave y'all a book the other day. Right? This book that I gave y'all was significant because we got a motherfucker that like to just keep running their mouth. So the name of the book is Slavery's Exile, The Story of the American Maroons. Everybody should have a book. If you don't have the book, oh well, you missed it. But I provided the book to everybody. In that book, you got to go to page, the beginning of the book, skip the introduction, unless you really want to know some context about what the book is about.
But if you go to what was it, page 39? That's the beginning of that chapter, right? The African Maroons. I might be wrong on the page. Yeah, page 39. It's African Maroons. I just wanna be clear about something. And that's pretty much it. Cause I ain't gonna keep going in the circles. I figure he got washed. I mean, everywhere he go, he get washed. But you know, he needs some confidence. So I appreciate him having confidence in himself. So his self-esteem ain't with it. But anyway, some niggas just come from him close, cause they is the ones what mostly runaways do to the woods. Let me restate that. Some niggas just come from Africa. Some niggas just come from Africa. So I tried to skip over it earlier because I needed to set y'all up. Some niggas just come from Africa, and old Marsh has to watch them, which is Master, has to watch them close because they is the ones what mostly run away to the woods. Although he was born in 1836, almost 30 years after the United States had abolished international slave trade, Senti Lewis knew what he was talking about. He had grown up in Brazoria, if I said that name right, Brazoria, Texas, one of the epicenters of the illegal slave trade. So let me pause real quick. So if you go and look up Brazoria, Texas, and its relationship to the illegal slave trade, you're going to find supportive evidence for what is about to be said, during which thousands of Africans were smuggled into the Deep South. Lewis's observations about the propensity of newly arrived Africans to head for the woods finds an echo in Lula Coleman's memoirs of her African grandfather, John Wren, who had been deported to Alabama. He lived on nobody's place before the surrender, she said. Wren rebelled against his enslavement, never spoke English, and refused Western clothes. He lived in a cave and did not allow anybody to stay with him. These two cases are particularly revealing as they occurred after 1830, a period when Africans were a small minority arriving and living in the United States. Yet, their response to enslavement was similar to that of many of the Africans who had preceded them. Philip D. Morgan, analyzing 3,558 runaway ads and 2,041 captured notices in colonial South Carolina, has established the dominance of Africans in the runaway population, particularly among captives. Africans represented about 45% of the enslaved population in that colony, and in 1760s and 49% in 1775, but based on Morgan's analysis, they made up 68.5% of the runaways between 1732 and 1775. Between the 1750s and 70s, as the ratio of Africans in North Carolina declined from 2/3 to 1/3, they still represented 54% of the runaways. In Virginia, they accounted for 29.8% of the fugitives between 1730 and 87, at a time when their share in the enslaved population fell from 30 to 10%. In colonial Georgia, of the advertised runaways, those origins is known. 25% were born in the country, 30% were Africans who had lived in the Caribbean or North America, 45 were newly arrived Africans. Africans therefore represented 75% of the runaways. The prevalence and the escapes by the Africans held true in other parts of the Western Hemisphere. Looking for an explanation, the French Ministry of the Navy and colonies concluded that they kept their habits of laziness and vagrancy when arriving in the New World. New Negroes. If Africans ran away disproportionately, notices show that the newly arrived among them were the most prone to do so. Slaveholders used various terms to categorize the people born in Africa. There were new Negroes, outlandish Negroes in Virginia, Maryland, and North Carolina, and Africans. It is clear from the wanted ads that outlandish was a geographical marker that had no strict relation to time. It meant primarily that the individuals were born elsewhere, in most cases, Africa. Not that they had just arrived, contrary to some assertions. Although many outlandish men and women were newcomers, a significant number of others had the following characteristics: speaks pretty good English, speaks English very well, well acquainted with most of America. By the way, these are the words and the indications of who they're identifying on these slave ads for some people that are kind of trying to figure it out. The verbiages that are used are choice words about particular people. If they came from Africa, they said certain things about the characteristics of the person. If they were born in America but they were of African descent, then they would use certain verbiage. Excuse me, for them. Anywho, says he's emancipated, says he is a freeman, sued for his freedom. Other outlandish people were familiar enough with their surroundings that they could tell the country they came from and the number of miles they had traveled. Other outlandish people were familiar enough with their surroundings that they could tell the county they came from and the number of miles they had traveled. Some were said to be old or in their late 40s or 50s, a sure sign that they had not been introduced only a few months earlier. Outlandish was not associated with an ethnic or geographical origin. This was perhaps because the time that the outlandish individual was being sought, his or her sojourn in the country had attenuated in the eyes of the slaveholders whatever ethnic characteristics were attributed to him or her. In the upper South term, outlandish is thus a mixed bag that described Africans at various stages of their American experience. I want to go a little bit further, but I don't want to go a little bit further because I don't want to bore you with wasting your time letting y'all know stuff that y'all already know. That's why I gave y'all the source. But I'm going to come back to that source because here are maroon leaders. I've showed y'all this before. I'll show y'all this again. Baiano, Marine King, 16th century. Yanga, Black King, 1564 to 1612. Alonzo de Alascas, Ecuadorian hero. The first two, the Africans didn't accept as normal the status of slaves. Yada, 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 yada. Yanga was born in Africa. One born in Cape Verde. Baiano is over here, and they all related to Africa. These were Maroons. These were Maroon leaders. This is instrumental in any conversation because they act like they ain't telling us that these people came from Africa. The Spanish, the Portuguese, the British, the Dutch, every European country is telling us where the people came from. I don't understand how we having these type of conversations with children, well, with individuals, with the comprehension. I have to say this correctly. I don't know why we're having this conversation with individuals who have the comprehension of kids, children between the first and the third grade. So let me just move on just a tad bit so I can come back to something. I want to talk about an all too familiar art of pseudo argument. So let me make this bigger so y'all can see it. When a person is so insecure that every discussion becomes a quest for victory, In every disagreement a personal affront, 6 essential steps come into play in the form of all too familiar pseudo argument. Yeah, Vino, this is you. You want to argue with all of y'all. Yodi, Vino, all, man, y'all are so terrible at this. Anyway, such arguers ironically betrayed their desperate attempt to allay fears over a subconscious belief. The pseudo-arguer is never moved by inquiry, truth, nor any actual interest in the subject. Their purpose is singular, to extinguish your voice. With all deference to German philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer, and recognizing that some of the elucidating elements herein are also reflected inside his work, The Art of Being Right, we hereby summarize our art of pseudo-argument. In his reference work, however, Schopenhauer teetered between contexts on both invalid approaches used by charlatans and recommended techniques for successful arguing. I found this irritating, lacking in utility, and incomplete as work, akin to an extract pulled verbatim from a stack of loose notes and not a complete work of philosophy. Below fixed his dialogue approach with a more consistent context of what one should not do as an arguer, as well as I've added a logical structure and order for the purpose of elucidating a methodology and not simply a list of disjoint thoughts from a philosophical diary. However, most all of these points and more can be found in the tree of knowledge of obfuscation. And despite some overlap, were not principally derived from Schopenhauer's famous work. These are the 6 essential steps to pseudo-argument. Establish that the opponent is making a claim. Frame argument inside a well-known bifurcation. Demand the evidence or proof as the first step of science. Appeal to authority, ridicule. JAQ, just asking questions, the idea to death. Challenge the notion with a full array of rhetorical and strawman perspectives. Keep gaslight your opponent. Get personal, gaslight your opponent. Yodi, this for you. Or feign personal offense. Conflate disagreement with insult. They do this every single time. They try to gaslight you, use personal offenses, insults. They hurl them at you. 6, declare victory. Change the topic. What was Vino doing yesterday on Not a Coincidence channel when my name came up? I didn't even know he was on a panel. I was just in a bad area. Brought my name up, started running off at the mouth about a conversation that he had with me, where he showed a video when he tried to narrate it for 45 minutes, almost an hour of narrating in total. And he claimed a victory. Y'all seen him in the chat. These are the 6 things. This don't stop at all. At all. So, aside from the reality that many of the off-kilter pseudo-arguers skip right to step 5, this is pretty much how they, how the Denialistic and pretend skeptics do it, folks. They skip right to 5. They get personal, gaslight your opponent, throw personal insults, conflate the disagreement. Yeah, all of that. The art of pseudo-argument. The astute reader will notice the triad of hypocrisy woven through this method. It consists of a trio of arguer habits: fake ignorance and lack of interest because the topic is conspiracy theory, belied thereafter by surprising detailed knowledge about the topic, nuancing knowledge, and a finely honed skill at strawman, ignoratio elenchi, and rhetoric over the issue. Collectively, these betray a subconscious belief on the part of the arguer, a belief wherein the threatening stimulus is what prompts adoption of this 6-point method of pseudo-argument in the first place. In undertaking the following method, the arguer is playing out their dissonance through an abusing both you and the topic. You are for them nothing more than a therapeutic whipping horse in denial, an artifice which they perceive might allow them, to dismiss the issue from the conscience for one more day, one more hour. It is a fix they desperately crave. So without further ado, the art of the pseudo argument. Number 1, establish that the opponent is making a claim. Frame the argument inside a well-known bifurcation. The most essential trick of the pseudo-arguer is to convert an observation, notion, or hypothesis into a claim. How many times have y'all sat on a panel, listened to me, listened to Lucky, listened to Not a Coincidence in the last week, and hear this displayed? You don't believe me? I got clips. Lucky, you in the chat. Let me reread what this says. And you tell me if this is a part of one of the conversations that you just recently had. The most essential trick of a pseudo-arguer is to convert an observation, notion, or hypothesis into a claim. Claims have to be proven right on the spot according to very familiar fake skeptic pathogen. In this manner, the pseudo-arguer forces the fatal nature of the discussion artificially. A potential final step of the scientific method falsification becomes instead its first one. Back-ass words conclude at the beginning pseudoscience. No research, only rhetoric. In other words, there is not really a discussion at play for them. It is a war. And they are there to win it at all cost. They frame the argument as an offensive notion which should not enter the mind of normal persons. So, the first thing you, as a pseudo-arguer, need to do is identify what side your opponent is on and which issue they regularly engage with, so you know it prior to the discussion whether or not to oppose them. It's all a formula from there on. Undertake a strategy of win at all costs. Consider the argument a war, in which victory is the goal, not truth. Victory is the goal, not truth. You heard it, Lucky. Victory is the goal, not truth. Cite that the opponent's claim is final, exclusive, superficial, ad hoc, and or just made up as a kind of religious explanation. Pretend it has never been broached before by anyone. Save for crackpots. Cite the real scientists, don't ponder the issue. Whip out extraordinary claims, demand extraordinary evidence, or something of a similar misleading nature. Cite the club in which you would like the opponent to be a bucket characterized. Use a well-worn out prerogative buzzword to describe the club. And query in the opponent is as a member. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit because y'all know where it's going. Demand the evidence or proof as the first step of science. Appeal to authority, ridicule. Typically, when the person conducting a pseudo-argument first enters the fray, they will ask for proof. Evidence or data backing the claim. Notice that the observation, hypothesis, precaution, plurality, and no hypothesis are all of these don't exist to the pseudo-arguer, only claims. Under the rhetoric of the claim, an idea must be proven before it is allowed to be researched, considered, and proven immediately. Most often in the case, the arguer is far behind the actual information regarding the subject. Take Yodi, for instance. Yodi says he loves using outdated sources to prove his new-aged argument. He is behind on the information. Yet he is still arguing from the beginning steps of it, like as if it is the concluding steps, and will take the opponent's inability to summarize decades of data and research for them right on the spot, constituting a lack of evidence for their claim. Despite hearing the argument again in the magnanimity, suddenly feign absolute ignorance as to any details the arguer being made of any evidence, observation, study, or epistemology at all which exists to support. Conduct extensive sea-lining demands, mentioning the scientific method often, but never actually demonstrating nor explaining how the scientific method works. Skipping ahead. JAQ, just asking the question, the idea you to death. Sean P, let me ask you a question, Sean P. Not a coincidence. Let me ask you something. So you're telling me that you didn't know that the Black Seminoles are the Black Native Indigenous Americans? Did you know that? What is you trying to say that they not the peoples that been here? Not a coincidence. The Geechees, they been here. They're not from Africa. Not a coincidence. An indigenous person is anyone that's born here, been here, and got peoples here. Not a coincidence. They're not Africans. Sean P, they not Africans. Lucky Guzman, they not Africans, bro. So why would you think that the Black Seminoles are from Florida? I tried to tell you this. Them is my peoples. The Cudjos, those are my peoples. You've been the Cujos. You've been the Abrahams. I'm totally confused by you by now. Is you a Cujo or are you the Abrahams? I'm confused. You trying to claim all of that. And then you want us to engage in your bullshit by just asking us questions. Challenge the notion with a full array of rhetorical and straw man perspectives. I ain't even got to get into that because we all just listen to you in a debate for an hour and even longer due to system issues. The mere fact that you think that you're doing something is kind of crazy. Because you do get personal. You do gaslight. Yeah, Yodi do. Oh, Yodi calls evidence gaslighting. Oh, you trying to gaslight me. So peep this. If it is not personal by the point of the discussion, you're in danger. Take it personal, but make it better to be their fault. Remember, in a war, they are either for us or against us. Broaden the discussion to include an attack upon the opponent's unrelated core beliefs or stereotypes. If they argue about a specific topic, broaden it to include their weaker fanatic or religious beliefs. Conduct a full slate of gaslighting tactics. A strong person does not try and convince another that they are alone, crazy, anti-whatever, non-cynical, and insignificant. Only a weak demonic mind does. So be clever in your wording so as to not make these accusations too manifest. Enemy rather than outright accuse. Intimidating rather than that. You're the only one who thinks this. You're a lone batshit mother breather. You're the only one, Yodi, that think that there's only two continents. You're the only one that says that black people was in South America and migrated to North America. That's how they got here. And the white people been here. And they was in North America and boom. All of y'all think that Atlantis is real, which is crazy to me. And you all say that black people been here and you can't even identify black. So you will declare victory and change the topic. It's what y'all do best. So I really don't even have time for anything that y'all would like to argue because you never have any evidence to support you so that we all can understand how you're coming to these conclusions. Because I ask you all the time, how did you come to this conclusion based on what data? And I don't care what you say, what you claim, or anything you do, but how did you arrive at the point you arrived at based on what? And you never have a command of the information in which you try to present and talk about these subject matters. I'm not giving you no airtime. None, zero, zilch is over for you. We heard what you had to say for 45 minutes, 50 minutes to an hour. You spoke more than me. You had more time than me. I just pressed play. You went on another channel trying to talk about this and bring this information up. I have nothing to say to you. You allowed your self-esteem to expose you, because now, replaying that debate, there are some things that really need to be addressed. I just don't know if I want to address them, though. Just listening to that playback is kind of crazy, because there were some real crazy things that was uttered in that topic. Especially from a motherfucker that sit here telling somebody that they didn't tie the people back. You didn't even establish who the people were. But it's not up to you and your feelings or how you see things transpired out. It's what other people saw between the two of us, and it's left up to them to come to an honest conclusion based on the data, which you provided, Don. You was a narrator. What's old boy name who do those National Geographic videos? And he's an actor too, old school guy. That's what Vernell turned into in a so-called debate. Vernell turned into the old dude who do the PBS shits. What's his name? Look at Voss in the chat. He been bow legs. He been horse. Yep, whatever he read that day, he claiming that shit. I know I wasn't making it up. He been bow legs. He been Abraham. He been John Horse. You know what I'm saying? He been all these different prominent people, right? Because he want to attach himself to the success of other people, and he still don't have a CDIB card because he can't get no card at all. He can't get one. So I put some sources in the description for anybody that want to read up on a few things that has been mentioned the last couple of days. Well, the last day, the last 24 hours, if it's been 24 hours, close to 24 hours. Just to give you something to read, there's a great PDF on Vasquez Nunez de Balboa. And that name came up yesterday too. I just didn't play the part. Balboa on hold on. I think it's page like page 9, 8 or 9. Hold on. Or was it 9? I might be wrong. It might be a little bit later than that. Let me go to 19. Yep, page 19. I said 8 or 9. It's page 19. So if you go to the PDF that I got in the chat that labels, that says, talks about the Spanish Empire and Balboa's account in the PDF, I want to read a little passage from it. So I'm going to put it on the screen real quick. During the greater part of the year in the tropical climate, clothing was rarely necessary for warmth, except at night, and the men and boys were nearly always naked. Though the Sikis sometimes wore breech clothes and cotton mantles over their shoulders as badges of distinctions, all males, and especially the warriors, painted their bodies with ochreous and earths, and stain their skins with the juices of the annatto, while they adorn their heads with plumes of feathers. Both sexes inserted tint seashells in their ears and nostrils as ornaments, and circled their wrists and ankles with bracelets of native gold. The women, after reaching their marriageable age, wore cotton skirts from waist to knee, and broad bands of gold beneath their breasts. Their hair, which was very coarse and black, they cut off in front, even with their eyebrows by means of sharp flints, but also allowed the thick, luxuriant tresses to fall over their shoulders as far as the waist. They were fine-looking people, especially the young girls and children, for though their complexion was brown or copper color, their forms were models of symmetry, their countenance pleasing, and their disposition sweet and amiable. Their defects, for they were by no means devoid of them, were such as might be expected to arise from their barbarous mode of life, descending from ancestors who had never been instructed in morals or religion, save in their most brutish forms. They had, of course, no written language, nor even a hieroglyphic system to perpetuate their thoughts and traditions of their ancestors, but they were experts in the chant and the dance known as the aritio, which they performed as the rude music of drums made of hollowed logs from the tabui or tom-tom of the Africans. Just in that alone, out of everything that's going to read, the only thing that matters to somebody is when they hear the words, though their complexion was brown or copper colored. That's how people are going to hang their hat on that. Not fully understanding the distinctiveness of anything else. Yes, we have Balboa's accounts. We know how he described the peoples. We know for a fact that by the time Balboa makes his expedition and they get into certain places and parts, there are African people that are already there that came way before Balboa entered the discussion. So anytime you let Vino in on your panel and he brings up Balboa, he is going to 1513. Never mind 1492. Never mind the Spanish bringing people with them since that period. He don't care. He gonna claim that them people been there. But the evidence doesn't say that. Because once you claim that black people have been in these particular parts, where is the DNA showing up at? Where is that haplogroup at? What is the relevance of that? Come on. People leave their DNA everywhere. There was no independent haplogroup that shows up for the so-called persons that have always been in America as y'all claim. I left a natural humanities link that talks about some very important stuff. I'm going to put it on the screen so y'all know exactly what I'm referring to. This is a collection of primary resources compatible with the Common Core State Standards, historical documents, literary texts, and works of art thematically organized with notes and discussion questions. America's beginning, becoming American, the making of African American identity, making a revolution, living the revolution, the making of African American identity, the triumph of nationalism, the house dividing, the gilded and the gritty, the making of American identity at 3 phases. There's a 1, 2, and a 3rd phase of that. Becoming modern. If you click on any of these, and I'm just going to click on one just for the sake of it, you're going to come to this particular page. It's going to give you topics, discussions, and all of that stuff. To the left are tabs that'll take you to other things. You click on them, it's going to take you somewhere else. You click on these tabs, it's going to start switching up information and provide it to you. One of the things that they get in immediately, all right, I clicked on the Spanish, excuse me. Then it's going to give you information about that. Same thing with the settles, same thing with everything else. See how I go here? First arrivals, hardship, Q&As, instructions, enslaved peoples. It's going to give you primary information. I've given this out before, but for some apparent reason, people have not really dove into this. At this point, I'm really trying to help y'all because it'll eliminate some of the ignorance. Hold on, let me see. There's something else I got for y'all. Real briefly, I might come back on like Tuesday or whatever to deal with this. But Ishmael Bey. So a lot of elbows online are now using Ishmael Bey, and they're trying to take this article, Colombia's president tells the world from the UN, black people are the true indigenous of the Americas. But they take him out of context in what he's arguing in front of those people. And yes, the vice president of Colombia is an Afro-Colombian. She's of African and Colombian descent. She's a black woman. But what I found here was most important is that Ishmael Bey is running the same move Ali Muhammad is running. Look. Plans and pricings. What do I need plans and pricings for? Nothing available yet. Tribe shop. What are you selling? If you're selling anything at all. Look. He trying to sell y'all some shirts. Trying to sell y'all the gang of stuff that ain't really loaded. Tribal member. You got to sign up. Ishmael Bey is a Moor. He's been a Moor. But what's more importantly is this. Since now he done started selling the Aboriginal plan, he keep forgetting about this the day that he went on. He forgot he went on Moorish TV in a conversation with Xavier. He had a conversation with Xavier. In this conversation,
I go into it and I pulled it up.
Boom. In the conversation, he pulls up his DNA real quick. Real quick, because he has a whole presentation on it.
I would have had it on hand. You claimed, you told him.
Hey, brother, be quiet, brother. I'm going to eject you and let him teach this DNA lesson in a minute.
Okay, I see it now. Good.
Okay, so it shows 100% of the DNA. That's the second part, and then the first part shows the first part. So you can put them right side by side if you like. And what it will read is, let me just go to the live screen on it. I'm on that I hear my email.
I hope he
What it reads is, it says Ishmael Bey Muhammad. It says Ishmael Bey Muhammad. My picture's right there. 100% sub-Saharan African. 90.
Ishmael Bey Muhammad. 100%. Sub-Saharan African. 91.6% sub-Saharan African. 6.5% European. 1.4% East Asian and Native American. His broadly East Asian and Native American is 0.1%. His Native American is 0.8%. And then he has a Southeast Asian, which is 0.5%, bringing him to 1.4% East Asian and Native American. My point in telling y'all is this dude Ishmael Bey, who wrote this whole article that abos are using, claiming to be indigenous to the Americas, is 91.6% sub-Saharan African, 86.2% West African in itself, 3.4% African hunter-gatherer. Broadly sub-Saharan African is 2%. This black ass dude from Syracuse is 91.4% African. And y'all want to play games about who y'all are. There's no games to play here. He's simply telling you. He's having a full discussion and put his DNA on the screen with confidence. He said the grift that keeps on grifting. Yeah, Xavier old ass is up there. And this is an old video.
1.6%, West African 86.2%, African hunter-gatherer 3.4%, broadly sub-Saharan African 2.0%, European 6.5%, British and Irish 2.1%, Scandinavian 1.3%, etc., all the way down. So it's the full 100% of my DNA. What you're asking. Hold on. It's also breaking down the countries highlighted on there and the parts of the country that are highlighted on there. Like I always state, I don't claim the Moabite part because as you can see, it's blank for me. It doesn't show that I'm from the Canaan or the Moabite, so I don't profess that part of the history because that does not pertain to me through my DNA, which is what I always stated. Also, on the second email that I sent to him is the full chronological breakdown of the ancient DNA. So if you go to the ancient DNA of where it was sent, I showed that it was sent to my email. When I opened it up, I sent that to Taharka. He showed it tonight. When he opened it up, it breaks down where the Morocco part that we were discussing earlier.
Here is Ishmael's haplogroups. He is L2D1A and E1B1A 8A1. His maternal haplogroup is L2D1, not L3, L2. And his paternal is E1B1A 8A1. Somebody in the chat said he a whole African. That's big facts. Yeah, he 2% Scandinavian, Yodi. Just like you. You seen him. You seen Ishmael. Black as all get out. And you got him running around here trying to sell you on being an Aboriginal. So I might go a little bit more further into this on a different day. And get into some of his articles that he's been writing. He hates me. He blocked me on Facebook a long time ago because I came for him. So, and it's one of the reasons that I'm coming for him. He's promoting that first American Antachinons, first tribe, American Indian, Aboriginal, Indigenous, is synonymous with the first contact. That is not synonymous with the first contact. Who have a part in the indigenous lineages proven in genealogy, yada, 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 yada. He did all of this. Then he goes on and says, some of the titles given to the people are Maroons, Black Seminoles, Black Negro, African American, Moors, Colored, Indian, Native American, Freedmen, and many other synonymous titles. Registered tribal members have provided qualified documentations of qualified for the tribal adoption process. There will be a national and international redress regarding repair and compensation with compound interest owed to the first tribe. Crazy work. These is articles. And I don't care about promoting it because guess what? I'm going to do. Get into his articles. Yes, sir. Look how he tried to take Yanga, an African. The first Mexican is Black Gaspar Yanga and the birth of Mexican sovereignty. You see how I try to flip that? When I just had Yanga on the screen, you know what I'm saying? Saying he was born in Ghana. That's the play. They take the history and pseudo it up. This what's his name? What's his name? This that Dan Calloway pack. Sean, you messing up the money. I don't care nothing about his money. DNA is for entertainment purposes only. Why genetic testing can find your cousins? Remember, he just had his DNA on the screen. You spin the tube, send it to a lab. 6 weeks later, to give results. Come back. You're 25. Blah 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 blah. This is what he say. Analogy number 1: DNA for relatives. It's GPS coordinates. DNA for ethnicity is a weather forecast. When you use DNA to test to find relatives, you're using exact coordinates of measurable genetic markers. DNA for the family, why it works. Examples, DNA, yep. Analogy number 2, just going down. Look who we got up here. Henry Louis Gates and Rick Kittles. Watch what he say. No indigenous identity in DNA, with many tribes rejected. No fairly recognized tribe, yada, 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 goes through, yada, yada, yada. So what should you use use DNA for? Connecting with cousins, verifying known relationships, supporting oral history and genetic clues, mapping migration patterns across generations. What you shouldn't use it for: replacing family history research, proving tribal membership or racial identity, using to validate or invalidate someone's identity. He tell on himself. He tell on himself. You know why he tell on himself? Because he's taking the DNA test and he actually knows the science. He becomes pseudo behind it because he will lie to you about who you are, and he keeps doing it. Stop exhibit. Look, he telling you. Stop exhibit B. Tribes don't accept DNA for recognition. He telling you. He puts it in a way that he can tread between the evidence for and then the pseudo. That's what he does in this article. This Unc friend. So he's gonna say it like that. None of this is backed by, like, you know, where you can go and do this or that. He do have some sources in here. The way that he writes all this stuff is strategic. He does weaponize a message, and he is trying to sell you on black people in America supposed to be in all of these people, because he is trying to sell you some shit. And you're right. I am fucking up somebody's money. I am. I know I am. And I don't care. Yes, he is in Abo now. He's in Abo now. He became an Abo like a couple of years ago. But this the end all be all right here. Ain't no sense in having no more conversations with Ishmael Bey. Because the end all be all he put on the screen. Hold on, y'all can't see it. Y'all can see, yeah, y'all can see it now. This the end all be all. Not a coincidence, it's terrible. That boy got is L2, not L3. That's why he got such a high percentage of African ancestry on his mom and dad side, is because that L2, L1 and L2, they didn't move. L3 left up out of Africa. They had to come get Mr. E1B1A8A1. They had to come get L2D1A. I know you L3. Yes, Top Cats got some bullshit from him. Top Cats was on the Moore shit too. He was on the Moore shit too. That's what I'm saying. So like, I know my audio was kind of messing up on the replay, so I don't know if not a coincidence is gonna replay that. He probably, you know what I mean, get the audio all the way, it should be solid. But there's no reason why I should be having these conversations with these dudes when they ain't got no methodology. Y'all do know there's a difference between haploanalysis and autosomal analysis, right? And then here we go again. Hey yo, didn't I just tell y'all that Yodi be gaslighting? Look at this. This is what I mean right here. We dealing with evidence, and then he say y'all Pan-Africans stuck on haploanalysis, and that is misleading information. And he ain't even got a source that says that. You don't know more than nothing about nothing. I'm just 2 days, thanks to chat. Yeah, you stupid. You a GED dude. There's no way that you can comprehend or understand the subject matter in 2 days, Jody. You done already admitted it. You don't have no sources. Yet you think because you have some information that's outdated that you got sources. It's crazy. It's crazy work. He says he has a GED and no computer. Nope, he don't have a computer. He just has a cell phone. And then he has to get permission from his snow bunny to talk. Because sometimes she don't be wanting to hear that shit. But hold on, let me see what else he got going on.
Show people
what's the full DNA breakdown, bro. So where's my $100?
No, stop. Can you show people where it's...
I'm going to end this.
No, hold on. Can you hark up? Can you show right now where it says 80%? Why you got to scroll up? Show where it says 80% African right now. Scroll it down and stop playing with the people.
Brother, can you calm down? Tell me what you want and stop acting so emotional.
Scroll down where it's... Okay, there it go on the left. It says West African, Ishmael Bey. 86.2% West African.
Yes.
3.4 African hunter-gatherers.
Yes.
Broadly sub-Saharan African, 2%.
I just said that.
You got 6% European in you.
I just said that.
You are an African. You are a West African.
I know that.
Brother.
DNA. You are not from Morocco. Stop playing games.
Do you not see Morocco highlighted on the African part?
This brother is weird.
Where it say Morocco at? It don't say nothing about no Morocco.
Now I say 91.6 sub-Saharan African. European 6%. Is my eyes lying?
No, I already had said that.
Okay, so
because Ishmael was trying to claim that he was from Morocco. He ain't from Morocco. He from sub-Saharan Africa. Morocco is not in sub-Saharan Africa. He ain't no mother freaking Moor. He was trying to say that he is a Moor by DNA when he was claiming this. Yoda, you don't know nothing about no DNA, bro. Just stop, bro. Just stop. You just in the chat just saying stupid stuff that make no sense, bro. You do it all the time. You do it all the time, and then you get beat up, and then you don't even want to admit when you're wrong. So like I said, man, these circular pseudos keep returning. And every time that we're trying to progress people, they keep coming with stupid shit over and over, or stupid stuff, sorry. And there's no reason for any of that. But yet you keep coming back with the stupid stuff for no reason. You ain't even had no time to learn the subject matter, but yet you want to sit here and project. And these people be forgetting. They be scamming the hell out of y'all. Yodi is a con. AKAN2. Yodi is he might be Igbo too. He might be Igbo. DNA ain't never been outside. What are you talking about? You keep on talking about not a coincidence is the only person to find an African in his DNA. No, bro. So, oh my God, bro. That's what we keep saying about gaslighting, Yodi. Because motherfuckers ain't showing you shit because you don't even know what you're looking at. You don't know what you're looking at. Yodi, you don't know what you're looking at all. You know how I know you don't know what you're looking at? Just by what you saying in the chat, bro. Look, you put Jamaicans equal Maroons, Seminoles, which are Africans. You left off Africans. Yeah, he's a Jamaican with a white woman. Yo. And he talk about gaslighting and he doing it in the chat. I'm trying to sign in. Yo, bro, I keep having to reset my password. It's crazy. Let me get signed in. Let me sign in. Yo, Ogun is tripping me out in the chat. My granddaughter's a crybaby. She be with the ops too much. All right. Verify. Let me get into this account. That girl ain't eating. She tripping. Oh, it's the password's the same as the last 5. Then shoot, let me see if it's get me in then. Nope, ain't all right. Okay. Hold on, y'all. Let me get signed in. Verification code. Remember me, motherfucker, so you can quit asking me this bull junk. See, y'all working on my language.
second. All right, so I'm in. So let me pull you up right here. So real quick, Yodi, because I can add relatives and do all of this stuff, but what not a coincidence is telling you how he's generating relationships, because they got this thing is called a family tree right here, right? It's a little thing. I'm right here. I just need to add my dad right here, my mom right here, or vice versa, and go all the way through. I got a half cousin right here. I got one of my cousins. All these are going to be people that are related to me that you see down here that are on here. I got cousins in some weird places, right? And when I start going through and adding people, I can get it to go crazy. But I ain't did none of that. And then I get hits and notifications about people. Like it's a third cousin down here, second cousin right here, and it go from there. But and you will see her. She on Facebook too. But you'll start seeing your relatives show up right there. Then they'll map you out. You keep talking about ain't nobody showing nothing through your autosomal, yada 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 yada. You don't even know how not a coincidence got to it. He tried to explain it to you, but you didn't even want to listen. Here are other potential relative locations. On some of them, this ain't even all the way full, because I can get to it. Yeah, you see some people down there in the islands, and there's some people back in Africa. I ain't even done though. I'm just, you know what I mean? Y'all don't need to see them names, them relatives. But nah, Yodi, I just ain't even been on here doing no work on my shit. Did I get an update from 23andMe? Yeah, but I think my update was like later. What was your last update? What did you recognize on the last update? What you recognize on the last update? Not. All right, the crybaby is crying again, bro. What you get? As our ancestors ventured out of Africa, yada 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 yada. Look, Yodi, huh? Look at that, Yodi. Where it say? Come on, bro. You don't know what we showing. You just be like into like nothing, just running off at the mouth. I done showed it so much, bro. It's crazy. Look at my shit. 76.1. I just showed you Ishmael shit. Ishmael shit was what? 91.4. That nigga way more African. Yeah. Your boy Ish way more African. But I need to get up out of here though. I need to go see my grandma. So I'll probably come back later and do something. I don't know. I might wait until Tuesday. But I got some stuff I gotta do. Yeah, I ain't no Native American, bro. Tell you that. I ain't that. I ain't that at all. Yeah, I'm that though. You know what I mean? I'm that though. I'm that though. Yeah. West Central Africa all day. I'm that though. Play no games, boy. Don't play no games, boy. West Central African all day. West Central African all day. And yo, Vino, you said something about there were no slave ports. There were ports up and down West and Central Africa, bro. Ton of them. You said that in your presentation, and I just let it slide. But it is what it is. Hold up, what'd you say? Not a coincidence. They connected me to the Congo and Bundu peoples in Ghana. Oh, yeah, I ain't been on here in a minute, so I gotta go through and break it down. Yeah, the Congolese is up there. I ain't even did all of the other stuff. So yeah, I gotta go through and get to that for sure. West Central African all day. For the Yodis, for the Yodelayer. So take 1% Central African right here. But listen, man, I got you. We'll come back and we'll build. I just need to get up out of here. I gotta take my granddaughter somewhere. So man, I appreciate everybody tapping in, man. This little morning to the afternoon build. We're really gonna get to it later and see what the real smoke is. And we'll let y'all air out y'all grievances. You know what I'm saying? Yodi is dead. Yodi took a DNA test and died. Sutek said he premium black. But nah, I'm gonna definitely get into that though, for real, bro. But I appreciate everybody tapping in, man. We be back later on. You know what I'm saying? We get it in. Yeah. My granddaughter like to eat. We gotta get her some more milky milk, you know, from my mama. But peace out to everybody in the chat.
From Africa, but they will be able to tell you about Africa. They wouldn't be vaguely saying they from Africa, bro. Like when a European says I'm from Europe, he doesn't say I'm from Europe. He says I'm from Germany. I'm from a particular province. I still got people out there, right? You know, when people say hold on. When people say they from Asia, they tell you where about from Asia they from. They tell you their province. They tell you they still got people out there. These people will confirm that they are indeed a part of their heritage. But you niggas was calling y'all African? Oh, mysteriously, you have no contact with the people you say you descend from. So I don't believe you. Bro.
Hating Africa and hating the African, we ended up even hating ourselves without even realizing it. Because you can't hate the roots of a tree and not hate the tree. The roots of a tree and not hate the tree.
You ain't no Indian, please try again. Everybody know you's an African. And Malcolm X said, you can't hate the root without hating the tree. Now take a look at you, you's a wannabe Cherokee. And I told you before, you need some therapy. And why you never show the genealogy? You owe your ancestors an apology. And you know they turning over inside of their graves just because you don't wanna come from a slave. So you gotta take this whip in. I caught another apple slipping. Caught another apple slipping. Caught another apple slipping. Caught another apple. Caught another apple. Caught another apple slipping. Hey, caught another apple. Let's go slipping. Hey, caught another apple. Let's go slipping. Hey, caught another apple. Let's go. Caught another. Let's go. Caught another apple slipping. Caught another apple slipping. Caught another apple slipping. Caught another apple. Caught another apple. Caught another apple slipping. Yo, check this out, man. You wasn't already here, man. Dane Calloway lied to you, man. The research guy lied to you, man. Caremio lied to you, man. Your ancestors come from Africa, whether you like it or not. So no matter what you do, no matter what you say, you will always be an African. You can't deny the facts. You can't deny the evidence. You can't deny the genealogy. You can't deny the DNA. You can't deny it, man. Whether you like it or not, you are African. Call the abo slipping. That's all we do. That's all we do. Let's go.
Got some dewy-eyed thing that you got a friend. I still ask you to look at that mirror. And if nothing's staring back at you is friendly, then you've got no friend.